begin walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's. 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 Puccini's Pizza, Pasta, Puccini's.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers studios, the Pacers are right back at it tonight trying to take a 3-1 series lead in the NBA Finals over the Thunder. A couple of arrests made this week in 2 separate cases in Fort Wayne, with one including a young child and a stabbing. And hear what Colts quarterback Daniel Jones is saying following the completion of minicamp this week. You're listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 9 o'clock.
This is a Fox News alert. Israel continues to attack Iran. I'm Dave Anthony.
They were going to initiate another attack like October 7th. Once we gathered the information about that, we decided not to wait.
An Israeli ambassador to the UN, Danny Danone, also tells Fox they had to stop Iran from making nuclear weapons.
The mission included Mossad smuggling vehicles and drones into Iran, setting up a drone base in Iran, and activating the drones this morning to hit Iran's surface-to-air missiles. At the same time, the IDF deployed 200 aircraft. These were mainly fighter jets to hit roughly 100 targets in Iran. All of this aimed at hitting the heart of Iran's nuclear program.
Fox's Alex Hogan also reports from Tel Aviv the strikes killed military leaders, including top generals. Iran's been firing drones in retaliation that Israel's been shooting down.
Iran's president responding, saying that its level of force and its actions will make Israel regret the actions that it took earlier today.
So Israel's closed its embassies worldwide and told Israelis abroad to avoid Jewish displays in public places. Don't post your locations on social media and avoid large gatherings. President Trump warned Iran on Truth Social to make a deal before there's nothing left, calling it perhaps a second chance, warning things will get worse after Iran, in talks with the U.S., rejected demands to stop enriching uranium. They found one of the black box recordings from the Air India flight that crashed as investigators try to figure out why the plane went down right after takeoff, hitting a building and then exploding, as the sole survivor tries to figure out why he didn't die. Vishwash Kumar, Ramesh's brother, says it's a miracle.
He video called my dad. As he crashed, he said, our plane's crashed. All of that. I don't know where my brother is. I don't see any other passengers. I don't know how I'm alive, how I exited the plane.
All 241 other passengers and crew on board died. So did others in the charred building on the ground. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Trying to widen the gap. Partly cloudy, 73 in downtown Indy. We'll reach a high of 77 today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 9:02. No time to waste for the Indiana Pacers and Oklahoma City Thunder. Game 4 of the NBA Finals is tonight inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Pacer forward Obi Toppin says he wants to see the energy even bigger than what they got for Game 3.
The fans was amazing yesterday. I've never heard it that loud in here, and it was rocking yesterday.
Indiana leads the series 2-1 and will look to take a 3-1 series lead back to Oklahoma City next week. Tip-off tonight is at 8:30 Eastern. Arrests are being made in the beating of a man that happened at a bar in Fort Wayne back on May 30th. John Herrick reports.
That's what the viral video on social media sounded like when James Simmons, a black man, was beaten up at Pike's Pub. Police have since tracked down 6 men this week they believe to be responsible, and they say all of the men they arrested are a part of the Outlaws Motorcycle Club. The FBI is involved in the investigation, and Simmons has vowed to press charges against everyone who was taken into custody. John Herrick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
Also in Fort Wayne, a child is stabbed and a man is in custody. Police say 27-year-old Travion Sewell is facing preliminary charges of criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon after an 11-year-old boy was stabbed in the abdomen Thursday in a neighborhood on the southeast side of the city. A witness also told officers that Sewell was wearing a scream mask when he stabbed the young boy, who suffered non-life-threatening injuries. The statewide average for gas today, $3.18 per gallon, according to Gas Buddy, a few cents higher than earlier this week. That's about the average here in Indianapolis as well. The cheapest gas in the state is in Evansville at $2.88 a gallon. Newly acquired Indianapolis Colts quarterback Daniel Jones spoke about the situation he finds himself in and competing for the starting job against Anthony Richardson.
You know, just like you would in any situation, I think, just trying to prepare and grow with it every day. I've got a lot of work to do just learning this offense and getting used to it, so trying to focus as much on that and then playing good football when I'm on the field at practice.
Richardson is currently sidelined with a shoulder injury. The Colts completed mandatory minicamp Thursday. The players will have the next 5 weeks off now before starting training camp on July 22nd. Traffic on the 5s. Good morning, Matt Bear.
What's happening, Jared? Looking at a crash on the south side. It's northbound 65 before 465. Right lane is closed. Traffic stop and go back to Southport Road. And we are stopped on the west side, northbound 465 after Washington Street up to West 10th. That's because of a crash, a delay of 15 minutes. Traffic sponsored by Payday. Packed with peanuts and filled with golden caramel, Payday is one hardworking candy bar. So grab one now to power you through the day. Payday Peanut Caramel Bar. Get to it. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
I'm Deidre Hall with a message about your eye health. My mother had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD, which means my family members are at greater risk.
I'm Dr. Sada of Doheny UCLA. AMD is the most common cause of severe, irreversible vision loss in older adults. If a healthcare professional suspects AMD, a retina specialist can confirm the diagnosis and work with you on a treatment plan.
Routine eye care can help maintain your vision. Visit geteyesmart.org for more information.
Now the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Cloudy skies, scattered showers, and thunderstorms this afternoon. A few heavy downpours, a high of 80. Scattered showers continue this evening, mostly cloudy, a low of 69. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
And I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Kendall Casey starts now.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
You know, politics and government makes for weird bedfellows, Casey. Because now we got to cheer for some obscure school system who probably is relatively inefficient, ineffective, and not properly utilizing or has not been properly utilizing taxpayer money in the way set forth that we would all hope it would. Because the Union School Corporation becomes the last hope, the last bastion to destroy this just horrific Senate Bill 1.
Yeah, Union Schools now suing the state. They are claiming that the new law is unconstitutional and would force the school district to leave classrooms empty for the upcoming school year, and that it will deprive students of a free and appropriate education, which constitutionally needs to happen.
Okay, so let's kind of just set everybody up on what's going on. It's obviously Senate Bill 1 is this just horrific property tax law, as we've laid out, multiple school systems going for referendums already ahead of it to try to beat various deadlines. We know people are going to be raising income taxes. I mean, we know in the aggregate your taxes are going to end up going up, whether it's a mixture of new property tax laws, whether it's an income tax, you put it all together, you're going to be paying more in taxes than you were previously. And one of the things that was really upsetting to a lot of people was how they started doing exactly what they're doing in the big, beautiful bill, the big bullcrap bill. They started throwing things in this Senate Bill 1, some might say to, well, convince various members to vote for the bill who otherwise might not be willing to do that. And one of the things that they did was put a caveat in which would dissolve this Union School Corporation in Randolph County. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I think J.D. Prescott represents Randolph County.
Oh.
And I think J.D. Prescott had a longstanding grudge against this Union School Corporation. And J.D. Prescott spoke at our rally. He was one of the biggest advocates of reforming the property tax system in a way that lowered taxes for everybody. And all of a sudden, in just a few weeks' time, Case, he went from that to voting for the bill.
Right.
And on top of that, telling us how great the bill was. Except we know it's not great. We know what places like Avon and Fort Wayne are doing. We know what the local governments are going to do. They're already telling you they're going to raise your income taxes. So the question would be, why would a guy like J.D. Prescott vote for a bill that's going to raise taxes? And then you realize things like this get thrown in, and all of a sudden he's voting for the bill. I'm not saying it happened just because of this. I'm saying that's a heck of a coincidence.
That is a coincidence. And do you remember when J.D. Prescott was in and he was defending his position on the bill, and then we asked him about this Union School District, what's going on there, and he said, well, I can't talk about that. This is why.
Conveniently. I can legislate it. I can create the problem. I just can't talk about creating the problem.
I can't tell you anything about it.
So as you said, this Union School, because keep in mind, there was no testimony on it's just like with the IU stuff,
right?
And the trustees getting changed. There was no test. Hey, maybe the Union school system needed to be dissolved. I don't know because we didn't get proper vetting on it. Could very well be some of the cases that are being made out there about, the kids being virtual and a lack of accountability and all these things. Maybe it did. I don't know. The point is it didn't go through something of this magnitude should go through, just like changing how we govern and legislate Indiana University should go through a proper channel. There should be hearings. There should be testimony. There should be debate. There should be all of these things if you're going to close a school system, which is going to impact all sorts of people. And this got none of that.
Right. So you've got the initial injunction hearing in Delaware County was canceled due to the judge's appointment. A new hearing has been scheduled for July 20th at the Randolph County Courthouse in Winchester. And the court documents show that both Union Schools and the state's attorneys agreed on the special judge. So it's moving forward.
Now, I don't know if the judge would say, well, only this part of the law is unconstitutional. I don't know if a judge would say, well, if this thing, which is a big part of the law, is unconstitutional, the whole bill has to. I don't know. I'm not a legal scholar, right? I'm just a low-level bird lawyer here on the radio. But regardless, I'm cheering for these guys because as much as we can put out how horrendous the whole process was on the property tax bill legislation, the better it is for everyone. And if you can get a big victory against the state of Indiana for the way they handled this issue, it's not that they handled the issue. It's not that they chose to take it on. If there are inefficient, ineffective school systems that need to be dissolved or eliminated or combined, all for it, 100% on board. This is not how you do it. This is not how you go about it. You do it in the open. You face the music. You face the people that are for it and against it, and then you make a decision in a transparent manner, not lumping it in a 368-page bill in which this school system closing or opening has nothing to do with property taxes.
It will be really interesting to see what happens because there are many people who are much smarter than me who would understand. But if the law goes into effect July 1st and then this new hearing isn't scheduled until July 20th, will things be retroactive? I don't know. It's going to be the first time in 50 years, though, that Indiana has dissolved a public school district.
Yeah, and think about some of the really bad school districts that have been allowed to stay open. This is where we come back to where J.D. Prescott saying, no, this didn't have anything to do with my vote. Think about some of the egregious public school systems that have been allowed to stay open, in which the state has gone by so far above and beyond to, from takeovers or whatever, but the school system still exists. And all of a sudden you have one guy who speaks at our rally, who is Mr. Gun-Ho on property tax reform, and he goes from that to voting for this monstrosity, and he was quite public about his desire to do this thing that is happening.
Throughout the entire process, he was one of the more outspoken people questioning Thompson throughout the whole thing.
Right, he was even asking hard questions
Right.
at the not debates, but the hearings, and yet he votes for the thing, and just coincidentally, something that's been a passion project of his
pet project.
magically ends up in the bill. Isn't that just a giant coincidence?
It is a coincidence. Okay, I don't know if you've heard this rumor or not, but this has been going around on social media, and Indy Star has an article about it. Rumors that there's a serial killer in Indianapolis.
Is it now? This is because a bunch of bodies have shown up, right?
Yeah, there have been 4, and they have been located near waterways, and this has happened over a 2-week period. And IMPD, Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, and also Lawrence Police are handling all the different cases. Authorities say that there's no evidence linking the deaths or supporting claims of this. And the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office stated there's no indication of foul play or serial offender based on current evidence.
Okay. I tend to want to believe our law enforcement.
Sure, absolutely.
However, having recently watched the Herb Baumeister documentary on Hulu, of course, Herb Baumeister was the serial killer from Westfield who killed many, many young men in the 80s and 90s, evading, capture, captivity, whatever. A whole bunch of people went missing over many, many years, and it took basically until the very end before the law enforcement was like, yeah, I think we got a serial killer on our hands.
These are connected.
Yeah. So color me skeptical that I'm not just going to take somebody's word for it of, there's nothing. Doesn't mean there's not. They may very well be right. I'm just saying, after watching the Baumeister documentary, at this point, I'm not convinced of anything just because law enforcement tells me, because they thought all those young boys disappearing over all those years, well, they're just runaways.
Okay,
they
so
thought the same thing with Casey, too. These young men have just disappeared.
Investigations are ongoing with autopsy and toxicology results pending in several of the cases. But the one thing that strikes me, because I have seen some of these social media posts where people are so definitive. They, in video format, they just come on and say, well, there's a serial killer in Indianapolis. Like, okay. Can you take a beat there for just a second? Because that sounds like, with such conviction, you're delivering that message.
Well, you don't know. And
Correct.
Of course, the odds that there is a serial killer in Indianapolis are relatively small.
But just the hearing you say that, it's like, ugh.
Well, look, my point on all this is, and I said, I tend to lean towards believing what they're saying. Obviously, they're investigating the cases. I think we've had a lot of advances in technology and DNA and crime scene forensics that allow us to get a better idea of what sort of person is doing what, or if any foul play is afoot. So I'm not disputing that. I'm simply saying, having just recently watched the Baumeister documentary, that guy was clearly a serial killer, and for years and years and years, people in that community, the gay community, were like, I think there may be a serial killer killing gay men, and the police were like, nah, you people are out in left field. So I'm just saying, I'm not jumping.
At what point does it turn from coincidence into, oh yeah, we think we got a problem?
Well, right now you don't know. Like, are they drug related? Are these transients? Are these people who had some point of commonality? Because you're right, all these people showing up around waterways, what is going on there? So let's let the investigation play out. Let's not sprint to our nearest cellular telephone and make posts about how there is a serial killer, but also let's not rule it out until we know what's actually happening.
But most importantly, let's just be vigilant with your safety. How about that?
If you're near a waterway, keep your head on a swivel.
It is Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Big, beautiful bill. It's big, and it's a bill. We're going to grow this economy. We're going to spend some money. You got to spend money to make money.
Does anybody trust the government, Republicans or Democrats, to get it right and do that? But if this were Democrats pushing through another $5 trillion, we'd say, what the hell are you doing? If you don't stop the spending, we're going to run out of money.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIPC and WIPC.com.
Change is always happening. It's part of life. And when it comes to music, change is all around us. Songs are rewritten. Classics are remixed. Bands and artists come and go. Even our taste in music changes. Here at Xfinity, we know there's still good in keeping some things the same. That's why we want to do our part with a 5-year price guarantee on our internet. It means no matter what changes, you get 5 years of the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment included for a price that stays exactly the same. Surprised? Life is full of them. One internet price, 5 years, guaranteed. Learn more at xfinity.com/deals. Restrictions apply. New residential customers only. Taxes and fees extra and subject to change. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA. Fixed Broadband Experience Report, August 2024.
Hi, this is Chris Cox, owner of Chimney Solutions Indiana. We're celebrating our 10th year in business. Call this month to take advantage of 10% off all chimney sweeps and inspections. We're also celebrating the opening of our new fireplace showroom on 86th Street and Lafayette Road. Come and experience our exclusive lines of wood-burning and gas fireplaces.
Call 317-757-6979 or chimneyindy.com.
The month of May is raced by at Miss M's Home and Garden and Sundown Gardens. JMV here. The June sales are on now. Shop the great high-quality products at both garden centers and save big this week. 20% off annuals and 30% off pottery at both locations. If you're shopping for Poly Patio Furniture, visit Miss M's in Bargersville. For 20% off their patio furniture, Miss M's on State Road 135 in Bargersville. That's Sundown Gardens at 186th and Spring Mill Road in Westfield. Tell them JMV sent you.
If you need to hire, you know it takes time. Well, what if you could meet with qualified candidates the very next day? Now you can with Zip Intro from ZipRecruiter. You simply pick a time and it does all the work of finding and scheduling qualified candidates for you. Then you choose who you want to talk to and meet with great people on back-to-back video calls as soon as the next day.
Try Zip Intro for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. Zip Intro. Post jobs today. Talk to qualified candidates tomorrow.
Hello, this is Don Steffi, Executive Director for the Indianapolis Ballet, and I want to personally thank everyone who made this past season such a wonderful success. Whether single-ticket buyers, subscribers, donors, volunteers, or corporate and foundation supporters, a sincere thank you is extended to you all from our board, staff, and dancers. Let's have another dance together next year, shall we? As we present a new season of great performances by your Indianapolis Ballet. Thank you.
Technology Recyclers is the safe and ethical choice for your computer and electronics recycling. R2 certified, 100% landfill free, guaranteed destruction of data, and absolutely free pickups. Visit tech-recyclers.com.
I see Nathaniel's got his Pacer swag on today. He's ready to go. Cheer on the team.
This is actually the Game 7 tonight. I think this is the game.
You think so?
If the Pacers win tonight, I think they'll win the series. If they lose tonight, I unfortunately do not think they're gonna win the series. I mean, because you would then have to get another game at Oklahoma City, and I say there's never zero chance, but there's very close to
Makes
zero
it
chance
harder.
they're going to win 2 games in Oklahoma City in the NBA Finals. And so if you win tonight, you hold the home court, which means you will at least have one more chance to win the series at home in front of your hometown fans. And it's so weird because you think of professionals and you think of like, okay, they've seen everything, nothing's going to bother them, but you really see it in the NBA Finals how much, well, you've really seen it throughout the playoffs, how much home court advantage really helps a team.
Yeah. Well, I don't even think I gotta believe it's a little bit more than just the fans cheering. I mean, you sleep in your own bed at night, your own routine. You're not getting that bad hotel sleep.
Sure.
All the things that are wrapped up with having the home court advantage.
And I think basketball unlike any other sport because the fans are so close to the field. You think about in football, yeah, okay, there's 65,000 people there. But if you've ever been to Lucas Oil Stadium, there's a relatively wide, by sports standards,
distance
between the players and the fans.
Yeah.
So you can, if you're really good, you can block out. Now, the noise, et cetera, there's ways they get around that with snap counts and how they do things. And you see a lot of times teams will be able to go on the road in the NFL and win in hostile environments because I just think they're less connected to the fans. Baseball, depending on the makeup of the field, there is a great distance oftentimes between the fans and the players. But in basketball,
they're right there.
They're sitting next to you. The players on the bench, like there's those primo seats where they're sitting next to you. So I do think, unlike any other sport, basketball and the home field advantage that comes, or home court in this case, advantage that comes with
plays a
huge part in it.
There's been obviously high demand for Pacer swag, and the team store said they're experiencing some order delays. They say, we know waiting isn't fun and we appreciate your patience, but just hang out, and they hope to have the full product selection really soon for all of the fans that are supporting the team. They've had a banner on their store website that says temporary reduction in available products to catch up on orders.
I was thinking about this at the end of that last game when the Pacers came from behind and won. And I thought to myself, if Indiana were to win the NBA championship, I think it would be the biggest sporting event to ever happen in the city, even bigger than the Super Bowl. And hear me out, and here's why. Because I know, the NFL's king and the Colts. There is a much longer relationship with the city and the Pacers than there is with the city and the Colts. The Colts, they are a vagabond, right? Like they are a carpetbagger, for lack of a better term, right? They were a hired gun. We bought the Colts. The city of Indianapolis, through the Hoosier Dome and then later Lucas Oil Stadium, purchased the Indianapolis Colts. The Pacers have more of a fiber and a DNA into the city because of the ABA, because they were so beloved in the American Basketball Association before transferring into the NBA. And so there are, first of all, people have been fans for much longer, those who are still with us, dating back to the ABA days. There's also a closer relationship because many people, especially the old timers, knew those players. It was not a big deal to see a player out and about and befriend them or be a part of their fan club back then. So there was a closer tie to the city. There's also a longer love affair with the Pacers in the sense of people my age remember those teams of the 90s, and that is, for many of us, if you're a 90s kid, one of the best parts of your childhood was every year, whether it was the Pacers and the Knicks or the Pacers and the Bulls, you were tied into. You don't have those memories with the Colts because other than the 95 team, the Colts weren't good when we were growing up. So I do think for the amount of people who would be touched by it and the impact that the franchise had on the city, the Pacers winning the NBA championship would weirdly be bigger than when the Colts won the Super Bowl.
I also believe you've got the ownership that makes it more entrenched in Indiana.
Agreed.
With the Simon family.
Agreed. And you go back to the history of management of the Pacers with Slick Leonard and what he did and his wife, who is still with us, to save the franchise, the telethon, keep them in the city. All of these things. Now, I'm not saying nationally the NFL is a bigger league. The Super Bowl is a bigger deal. But I'm saying to the hardcore
sports fans,
lifer Indianapolis people. Now, the new people who've moved in, absolutely not. That Colts Super Bowl, if you had only been here 20 years or less, Colts Super Bowl, probably a much bigger deal. But to the lifer Indianapolis people, I think the Pacers winning the Super Bowl the Pacers winning the NBA championship is bigger than the Colts winning the Super Bowl.
Well, there's also the cultural impact. Indiana, synonymous with basketball.
You're right. And so much of, I was thinking about this the other day, so much of sports is about nostalgia. Sports and music are sort of the same. And it's about, you watch things and you remember how other things made you feel. My dad and I were talking about this yesterday. The U.S. Open is being played at Oakmont. Part of Oakmont's lure is all the years that the U.S. Open has been played at Oakmont and all the famous names who have either won at Oakmont or been in famous finishes at Oakmont. And when you're watching, while the course changes over time, somebody my dad's age can watch shots and watch a course that Jack Nicklaus won on when he was a kid. And it brings nostalgia, and it brings time, and it brings things together. And I think sports does, all the sports do much the same thing if you're a longtime fan of whatever the thing is.
Absolutely. And you think about it, just like you said, music and sports do the same thing. You hear a song and it takes you back to a certain memory, right? Sports will do the same thing. Oh, I remember watching that game with that person at that location. It's why people collect programs and tickets.
Do they still have street vendors? Like when you go to a Pacers game tomorrow night, is there still some guy selling bootleg merch?
Tonight, by the way.
Oh, tonight. What did I say?
Tomorrow night.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, tonight.
Yeah.
When Nathan, there's still bootleg merch guys?
3 or 4. Oh, yeah.
How do they get away with that? I mean, are they official vendors?
Question.
I saw one yesterday, and I thought this was, that's interesting, because I thought this was made up. It's a guy who was selling a Pacers shirt with the logo, but the guy was like fat on the logo. It's clearly like stretched or something. And it's, how do they get away with doing that? How's in the modern era?
The logo's off just a smidge.
How's somebody not cracking down on that? Like, you can't sell our merch right outside of the stadium. So I didn't know if there were still the vendors that are not exactly supported by the franchise themselves.
Unsanctioned.
Hey, I can get this shirt for $10 over here, or I can pay $30 over there. Sure, the guy's a little heavier on the logo on the $10 shirt, but who's really paying attention? Is there $20 difference?
Right. Okay, you've got an email that you're going to share coming up.
Yes, somebody wrote me. So Stephen Whitmer is going to be with us today at 10 o'clock from the Indy Reporter. He has done some phenomenal research on how many of these foreign companies that our politicians in Indiana are selling us and making these massive investments, how many of them, one, really aren't paying off for the taxpayer, but two, how many foreign workers they're bringing into the country, and how our money is facilitating this. Look, invasion's a strong word, but a lot of people basically getting a pass into this country and the impact it's having. And so one of our listeners sent me an email on how they have specifically been impacted by this.
All right, we'll get to that coming up. It is 93 WIBC.
Here's a real-life story that affects 50% of all of us out there. It's called divorce. If you've gotten divorced and now you're struggling to pay your bills and your credit card debts are completely out of control, you need to call this special debt relief hotline right now. We help people with all kinds of money problems caused by different life challenges, a divorce, a job loss, even heavy medical bills. All these life events can sometimes financially stress you out and cause you to get out of control. We help people get their lives back by showing them ways to consolidate and reduce their debt, in some cases for a fraction of what they owe. If your credit card balances are more than $10,000, call us and learn how to reduce your credit card bills and monthly payments now. Here's our number.
Paid for by Debt.com. Call now at 800-810-1820. 800-810-1820. 800-810-1820. That's 800-810-1820.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP 105-195. Nautilus MSRP 60-195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
The Attorney General's Office, reuniting Hoosiers with over $1 million in unclaimed property every week. Visit IndianaUnclaimed.gov or text Tony Katz to 46220 today.
Here's a harsh fact.
40% of women and nearly 20% of men suffer from varicose or spider veins. Left untreated, these veins can cause tired, heavy legs, swelling, burning, cramping, aching, even restless leg syndrome. In some cases, it can lead to serious health risks like blood clots. USA Vein Clinics offers minimally invasive treatments that take as little as 15 minutes, covered by most insurances. Call 317-516-6861 and schedule your appointment today. Don't wait. 317-516-6861 for free information today. Imagine walking, exercising, and sleeping peacefully again. Varicose and spider veins won't go away on their own. USA Vein Clinics can help. Call 317-516-6861 for fast, easy, affordable solutions. USA Vein Clinics treatments are covered by most insurance plans. Don't put this off any longer. Call 317-516-6861.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Reacting to Israel's attack. Cloudy, 75 on Monument Circle, 77 is the high today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. President Trump says the worst has not yet come in Israel's attack upon Iran, though he is encouraging Iran's leaders to get serious about nuclear negotiations.
In posts to his Truth social media, President Trump says he gave Iran many chances to make a deal to end their pursuit of nuclear weapons, and that failing to do so would be disastrous for them, and that Israel's strikes against them through the night have been the result. He also notes that 2 months ago, he openly gave Iran 60 days to make a deal, and now today is day 61. The president blamed Iran's hardliners for not considering giving up its nuclear program, and that, in the president's words now, they are all dead. President Trump is still asking Iran to make a deal, noting they should do it.
Fox's Eben Brown reporting President Trump is also holding on to control of the National Guard troops deployed in Los Angeles. An appeals court temporarily lifted a judge's block on that deployment. A U.S. district judge previously called the president's move illegal. California Governor Gavin Newsom also said the president was overstepping his power. And a black box has been recovered from the Air India plane that crashed in a residential area of India Thursday shortly after takeoff. 241 people were on board and killed, along with at least 5 people on the ground. One passenger did walk away from the crash. The survivor is in the hospital and reportedly out of danger. Now time for your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management. Markets are down. The Dow's down 500 points to 42,967. The S&P 500 also in the red, 62 points to 6,045. As for the NASDAQ, it is down 280 points to 21,913. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level on the go and at WIBC.com.
From marshmallow festivals to fireworks on the shore. No matter where you're headed this summer, Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles. During Hubler's Freedom to Drive, shop any of our 13 locations and choose from Chevys, Fords, Toyotas, GMCs, Buicks, Nissans, Acuras, Mazdas, Hondas, and more. Over 2,000 vehicles. All makes, all models, certified vehicles, luxury vehicles, even the hard-to-find ones. Plus, every Hubler Q-certified vehicle is covered by a 128-point vehicle inspection and a free Carfax history report.
'Cause Hubler's got you covered.
No matter where you're headed this summer, Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles during our Freedom to Drive. Visit drivehubler.com or any of our 13 locations.
Cover me!
Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Okay, so one of the great questions of our state is who can investigate potential government corruption? Like, who can even do it?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's one of the things that's getting frustrating about the whole Diego Morales saga, the Secretary of State, is no one is raising their hand. Everybody knows this doesn't make sense, what's going on with him. There is no reason that he should be doing all this foreign traveling in his official role as Secretary of State. There is no reason he should be weighing into agriculture issues. There is no reason that he should be weighing into economic development issues. And most importantly, there's no reason that private entities should be paying for a guy to go to a foreign country who has no discretion or authority over the topic he claims to be there on. Like, logically, does that make any sense why you as a business would give money, tens of thousands of dollars, assumably, for some guy and his entourage? It's like Turtle and Johnny Bravo or Johnny Drama or the rest of these guys that are going over there with him to go to these foreign countries and do who knows what.
And then when you ask questions, you're met with a brick wall.
Well, not only you met with the bit, that's a great point, but you're also met that you're the bad guy.
Yeah.
How many now of these government people have tried to turn us or these other accounts or these media people, Capital Chronicle, whatever, Indy Star, like we've become the bad guy, and all that is being asked is, this doesn't make sense. If you can make it make sense for us, great. Who paid for you to go?
Sure.
Because once it's revealed who paid for him to go, then the public can look at it and say, okay, is this above board? Is this just some Hoosier do-gooder who, out of the goodness of their heart, because of Diego's charm and personality or whatever, sent him to a foreign country?
Stage presence.
But when you factor in that he's got a guy who's selling access to visas going with him, who has a state contract, who people, they don't know what he does. You've now got, according to other reports, and we'll get into this with Whitmer, some venture capital guy going with him. That doesn't make any sense. So we, the public, we, the media, because we're told do our jobs.
Right.
Indy Star, Capital Chronicle, whoever, would just like to know who paid for an elected official to go on a foreign trip in his official capacity.
And isn't that something, on one hand, you're the media, you do it, you ask the questions, and then when you do, you're demonized.
Yeah.
He's not doing anything wrong. Well, which one is it? Just give us the answers then.
And if you talk to these other members of the media, and I don't want to speak for them, but we've had them on our show, and I think they've alluded to this, that it is very frustrating that something that is not gotcha journalism, the question is very straightforward: who paid for you to go? And then we can look at that and decide if there needs to be further investigation. If indeed it is someone with no business dealings with the Secretary of State that just wanted for some reason to send Diego. I mean, it's still weird that you would go, but there's so many parts of this that don't make any sense that you can't even get a straight answer on who has the ability to give us the answers. Right. Because clearly Diego is not going to. And one of the people that I've said could have a major impact on this is the Attorney General, Todd Rokita. Now, I'm not under a delusion that Rokita has the ability to prosecute Diego Morales. I don't think he does. The Attorney General's job is to be the chief law enforcement officer for the state of Indiana, though. And Todd Rokita sues and investigates people all the time. If there's a news camera to get in front of, he'll find a way to make it fit under the purview of his responsibility, right? And the idea that when potential mass government corruption, maybe it's not, maybe it's nothing, but the longer nobody will give answers, the more suspicious it looks. And for a guy who's always seeking the camera and the limelight to not only not do anything, but seemingly be just totally flippant and have no comment about it, really out of character for Todd Rokita.
Well, he was asked about that recently, and he said he doesn't have the authority.
So Casey Hendrickson, who is he hosts a radio program in northern Indiana. He's on a variety of stations up there. WOWO is one of them, I think. Actually asked Rokita about this. He had him on the other day about some other topic. I think it was related to immigration. And again, if it's an abortion doctor, Rokita can't sprint to the nearest television fast enough. If it's Notre Dame, if it's Butler, like, okay, maybe.
In this instance, it was a fight with Liz Brown.
Right. But it's like, so those things, you're all about it. You'll find a way to make it work. But potential government corruption, who, by the way, you gave $5,000 to this guy and endorsed him conveniently. Well, me have no power. Listen, this is what he had to say.
The overseas trips with the Secretary of State, Diego Morales, like, what would the role of the Attorney General's office in looking into that, what would a role like that look like?
Right. So, for good reason, you can think about it. You don't want one elected official having carte blanche investigative authority over another separately elected official. Yeah. I mean, that's not good.
Only like 20 seconds, Todd. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so I don't have that authority at all. The right course of action would be the Inspector General.
Okay, so the Inspector General would have to kind of kick this off before anything would happen with your office. All right, I got it. Attorney General Todd Rokita.
At all. Yeah.
So let's pretend Rokita came out and said, I'm super concerned about this. The public has the right to know. I'm going to do everything in my power and also urge the Inspector General and state police to investigate this. Who would stop him? What are they? Who's going to beat down his door and go, you're trying too hard to find out if government corruption took place, Mr. Attorney General. We're going to put a stop. What is Braun going to send in the guard and stop him?
You're overstepping your authority.
This is because
when the Secretary of State oversteps his purview, they let that go.
Right. Yes. Nobody says a peep when Diego's in India cutting economic development deals, or who knows what he's cutting over there.
I think the governor even said that. Well, he may have overstepped, but we're not going to stop it.
This is the craziness of all of this. It is like when it comes to this guy, everybody's like, well, it's not my job. Well, he's out doing stuff that isn't his job. Right. It's just like nobody will step up and say, okay, it's me and I'll take the lead on this. When all the public is asking is who paid
for
the trip.
Rob.
That's my with all my subpoenas powers, Casey. I'm supposed to really get to the bottom of it.
Sure.
Okay, I did want to read this email because Stephen Whitmer's going to join us at 10 o'clock from the Indy Reporter account, and he has done a really interesting deep dive on how many foreign workers since the Mike Pence administration have been flooding in. So this is Pence, this is Holcomb, it is now Braun. How many people are from foreign countries are flooding into the state of Indiana, and how they're working for companies that we are subsidizing through abatements, through credits, through all these different economic development incentives, and they're taking away our jobs. They're using our resources, both monetary and natural, and they're taking jobs that go to us. And so what Stephen's going to break down is how these foreign companies are using foreign workers from their country of origin,
correct,
to hit the required economic development incentives to get money, but the jobs aren't going to us, they're going to them.
Right.
Jeff, who is a listener, sent me an email, and I wanted to read part of it because it really ties into this. This is one guy's personal experience with this, okay? And he said I could read this on the air. Okay. I'm not going to give his last name, but he said I could read this on the air. He said, looking forward to tomorrow's segment on companies hiring foreign employees in Indiana. Despite having a bachelor's degree from Purdue, an MBA from the University of Southern Indiana, and 25-plus years of IT experience, I can't even get a single interview with a major Indiana company. I'm not going to name the company because it might out who Jeff is. After applying for 13 jobs that I would be qualified for, and all of these jobs were supposed to be in Indianapolis or Lebanon. That really narrows it down to which company it is, right? See screenshots below, which he does provide the screenshots.
Sure.
I've applied for hundreds of positions at other Indiana companies as well, and never hear anything back. Company that happens to be in Indianapolis and Lebanon. You fill in the blank on who that is. And other companies in Indiana seem to post lots of jobs, but have no intention of hiring many Indiana residents. If you look into the buyers of many of the newer homes in high-density housing additions in Brownsburg, Avon, and Plainfield, half or more of the brand new homes in these subdivisions are being purchased by non-U.S. citizens working for various large companies in central Indiana. Boy, Case, where have you heard that before? What #1 rated radio program has been talking about who's buying all the high-density housing?
Right, just look around Walmart.
And this is exactly why I said that has to stop. In these towns, you have to stop building these high-density housing developments. I did everything I was supposed to do growing up, worked hard, got good grades in school, stayed out of trouble, didn't use drugs, and at 42 years old, I cannot even get an interview anywhere in this state or neighboring states for a good-paying job. I can thank Eric Holcomb's COVID shutdown and resulting business changes for the elimination of my last decent-paying job.
Wow. Can understand his frustration.
Yeah, look, it is a takeover. The government, state, local, federal, and Stephen's going to go into all of it with the data, don't take our word for it, is using your money and your hard work to replace you with these foreign workers and these foreign companies. The data bears it out.
So where is our governor? Do you know?
Yeah, where is Braun?
We'll talk about that coming up
great.
from 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel show this afternoon. It's a beer sample Friday. Singer Clayton Anderson scheduled to join us for Celebrity Beer Bong, 3 o'clock.
At Advent, nasal congestion and sinus infections can be solved with an in-office 20-minute procedure. Elsewhere, expect surgery.
The deals and specials are sizzling hot. It's the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show this Saturday and Sunday at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. The best dealers in the region will be at the Central Indiana Gun and Knife Show. Just $6 for adults. Kids 12 and under get in free. Must be 18 or accompanied by an adult. Buy, sell, trade. This Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Sunday, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Tippecanoe County Fairgrounds in Lafayette. For more info, visit CentralIndianaGunShows.com.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Hello, I'm Joe Cordell, founder of Cordell & Cordell. Divorce is complicated, especially when your small business or professional practice is involved. At Cordell & Cordell, we understand that these assets raise unique valuation and allocation issues. For 35 years, we've helped doctors, lawyers, and small business owners navigate divorce with confidence. Call us at Cordell & Cordell. Let me tell you, I understand on a personal level, your business is much more than a job. It's your legacy.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Hey guys, it's Rob for We Grow Hair Indy. You know, guys who are on top of their game choose We Grow Hair Indy. People like Rajiv Ram, two-time Olympic medal winner. Go to WeGrowHairIndy.com and you'll see who these champions are. Top radio personalities, coaches, former NFL players. They know We Grow Hair Indy had the technology and results to grow their hair back. I chose We Grow Hair Indy because I wanted to get my confidence back. And every time I look in the mirror, I'm so glad I made the choice to go to We Grow Hair Indy. And you can get your confidence back. It's so simple. Head over to WeGrowHairIndy.com today or call 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. Schedule your totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation, and you could be getting your confidence back. Be on top of your game and look like a champion. Call We Grow Hair Indy today. 317-522-2995.
The WIBC mashup is everything you love, from fiery debates to laugh out loud takes, all in one podcast. No weak sauce, just the best of the day each weekday. You can find it wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, this is going to sound dirty, but it's not. Would you pet that turtle?
The big turtle.
Yeah. He looks gentle.
The local news.
He's got to be old as dirt, too.
Fox 59, we have on here in the studio. There's something going on with Zubilation, and they had this giant, I don't know whether it was like a tortoise
Looked
or
like a tortoise.
turtle or something.
Dinosaur.
I mean, it's like it's massive.
Yeah, and they were petting it.
And it's got its large neck and head out. And I don't know. And
Would you pet that turtle?
No, I would no.
Really?
No, I mean, well, I feel like if there was a trained professional there in front of me and I could see the person's license and credentials, then maybe if they advised me, the thing wouldn't snap my arm
then
off.
You go wash your hands right away.
Well, that is somebody. I have a toddler. Dirt doesn't bother me. The problem that bothers me is, would this thing turn on me? And then once it does, how would they rectify the situation? It strikes me as something that's very sharp. Fangs, teeth.
Looks like it was moving pretty slow. I think you're quicker than that.
It's not the movement. It's that neck. I mean, it could just,
Right?
and then
I
you're
don't think
done.
it matters if there's a trained professional. If it sees you coming at it, lose all its instincts. It's just going to go right at you.
Exactly. Thank you. And then what's that guy going to do? Let's say the turtle's...
Sit there and laugh at you, probably.
Let's say the turtle's name is Nugget. Nugget, you let go of that man's arm.
You think Nugget's going to
understand? Nugget? What is it a dog? Like, can a turtle respond to commands? Like, how, I would need to know all of that before I'd engage in any sort of in-person contact with is a turtle a wild animal? Tortoise?
I don't think
wild animal?
That one is kept, by the way.
It would be?
Well, I mean,
if it looks like it should be
captivity.
If you look like you should be on Jurassic Park, I'm probably out.
You're out. Speaking of turtles and slow-moving creatures, the governor's been moving all around.
What a great intro. Grandpa Braun is on the move again. Why are all the politicians not in our state? They
Well,
keep
that's the
going
question.
everywhere but Indiana, it seems like.
Right. He traveled to Washington earlier in the week. He had meetings with Trump administration officials. And then he went to Nashville, Tennessee to take part in the Republican Governors Association sessions.
This guy.
It's got to be a whiz-bang party, right?
And Holcomb, like they're everywhere but Indiana all the time. There's plenty that needs to be done here. Can't we just stay here? Or if you got to have a meeting, have you ever heard of Zoom?
Right.
It's really fabulous.
They made us do it during COVID, didn't they?
Right. It works very well. And then someone of Braun's age and feeble presence, you would maybe want to keep him away from as many people as possible.
Yeah, he was taking part in an event with the Agriculture Secretary, Brooke Rollins.
Wait. Agriculture? This is like the third ag thing that Braun has done. Is he now in charge of ag? I thought Bobblehead was in charge of ag.
He posted something yesterday. What a great conversation with Sarah Fry. She's one of America's top producers of pumpkins. And they were talking ag.
So this is not like some big trade deal. He's meeting with some pumpkin grower, which again, I didn't think the governor was in charge of ag, or has he just taken control of that as well? Have they answered that? Was there some big press announcement that I missed? Because it seems he's doing all the ag now, which last time I still checked the org chart, the governor was not in charge of ag.
And then you had the Secretary of State who was tweeting something out about World Elder Abuse Awareness Day.
Is that what he's doing to the taxpayers? Is he taking great pride in the elder abuse of their finances? Like, what do you mean elder? Is that in his purview now?
Doesn't that seem like that'd be more like the Attorney General or the Treasurer? He said he's urging Hoosiers to stay alert to financial scams targeting seniors. I mean, it's a great message. It's a great message.
Your office is a financial scam involving seniors, Mr. Secretary of State. It is. You look in the mirror.
Indiana University trustees, they voted to keep undergraduate tuition flat for the next 2 years. Did you see that?
Where at?
At IU.
At IU. So they've joined Purdue now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this was one of the things that people were upset about with IU is that while under Daniels, and I think the new guy at Purdue, whose name escapes me, they had kept the tuition flat for many, many years. IU had seen skyrocketing tuition rates, and so apparently whatever directive was given by the governor with the new board of trustees has been heard, and that must have been one of the things that Braun wanted them to do, because that sounds like a heck of a coincidence. Oh, new board, new us, and we're freezing tuition, which is good. I'm not going to say it's bad.
Right. Well, they plan to cut around $100 million from their budget. They say that's due to declining state and federal funding. But, Sage Steele was named on the IU trustee board, and she was there yesterday.
She's a sports broadcaster. Yes.
She said she's humbled, grateful, and proud, and she promises to make the governor proud.
Back here on the campus of my alma mater, up just in time to hear the famous clock bells ringing. Super emotional day. My first day, really official first day, as a member of the Board of Trustees at Indiana University. Something I never, ever, ever could have imagined. Never, ever dreamt of, that's for sure. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who welcomed me, invited me. Indiana Governor Braun, thank you so much. I would never be anything, have had that dream career of mine that I always begged for and dreamt of without this place. My kids wouldn't be here without Indiana University. So it's just really a full circle moment 30 years after I graduated to be able to be here and try to give back to the university that gave so much. So, Board of Trustees, who am I?
Okay, whoa. Okay, should I say what I'm thinking, or should I just be like, well, that's wonderful for her? What should I do, Casey?
Say what you're thinking.
She's acting like she earned something. She was given a political appointment by the governor through a backroom deal that took place in the middle of the night and the final day of the budget. Like she didn't win the Super Bowl. She was given it by the governor. She may be a lovely person. By all accounts, she probably is.
Yeah.
But everyone welcomed me. What choice did they have? The governor changed.
It was mandated.
The governor changed the rules of the game in the middle of the game and threw people out and put you in.
You were voluntold.
What were they going to be like? These people are under you now. Well, that woman, you're an a-hole. No, of course they're not going to. What are they going to do? Not welcome you? Get out of here.
So undergraduate tuition will stay the same at IU, although trustees approved a 2% fee increase for some of the graduate programs.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, so let's take a break. When we come
Okay.
back, Stephen Whitmer from the Indy Reporter is going to join us. And this is going to be a fascinating conversation. He has spent an entire week, basically, crunching the numbers and has real data on how many foreign workers have come to Indiana over the past couple of years, especially with specific companies. These are companies that had highly touted press releases about the investments they were going to make in Indiana, about how great this was all going to be. And what you're beginning to realize is the investment was really just investment in people who came from the country that they came from, too.
Indy Reporter joins us next on Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
I sit back with my brand new invention. Something grabs a hold of me tightly, flow like a harpoon daily and nightly. Will it ever stop? Yo, I don't know. Turn off the lights and I'll glow. To the extreme, I rock a mic like a vandal. Light up a stage and wax a chump like a candle. Dance, crush a speaker that booms. I'm killing your brain like a poisonous mushroom. Deadly, when I play a dope melody. Anything less than the best is a felony. Love it or leave it, you better gain weight. You better hit bulls out of kid.
Fostech is American-made firearms made right here in Indiana. American craftsmanship meeting cutting-edge innovation. Their lightweight AR-15s are incredible, and they don't sacrifice dependability or durability. Advanced machining capabilities create incredible products, and they are all designed, machined, assembled, and tested right here in Indiana. Fostech, owned by a family that has served and loved their country. Visit Fostech.com, F-O-S-T-E-C-H, Fostech.com to find the dealer near you.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers studios, the Pacers going for the 3-1 series lead tonight on their home court. A Marion County mother is in the middle of another child neglect case. Why military recruitment is up in the U.S. in recent months. And what does the weather look like for tonight and into this weekend? You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. Time for Fox News. It's 10 o'clock.
It's unlawful and cowardly. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's what Iran is calling Israel's attack, vowing to the UN Security Council to respond decisively. That's Iran's president who says it'll be powerful and that Israel will regret what he calls a foolish attack. But so far, drones Iran fired in retaliation have been shot down.
If Iran would have achieved a nuclear weapon and would have used it, the eulogies for the state of Israel would have been the most beautiful eulogies ever written.
Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Yakil Leiter.
But we're not interested in eulogies. We're interested in life.
What Israel is doing is called
Operation Rising Lion. That was around 3 a.m. local time, trying to attack Iran's nuclear capabilities.
Fox's Alex Hogan in Tel Aviv says Israel also targeted missile sites and killed top generals and other military leaders. And
today, the Israeli military says it's also destroyed dozens of radar installations.
President Trump plans to talk again today with Israel's prime minister. Next hour, he'll meet with his national security team. The president has also warned in Truth Social posts that Iran needs to make a deal now before there's nothing left and things get worse. President Trump also posted a thank you to an appeals court for allowing them to keep National Guard troops deployed in Los Angeles to deal with a week of protests.
After a lower court hours earlier had ordered the Trump administration to return control to California Governor Gavin Newsom. Now, in the initial ruling, U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer said Trump's actions were illegal.
Fox's Jeff Paul in L.A. 2 setbacks for the president in court. A federal judge blocked his executive order aiming to overhaul federal elections requiring proof of citizenship, siding with Democrat-led states who challenged the order as unconstitutional. Also this morning, a federal appeals court rejected the Trump attempt to throw out the verdict against the president, ordering him to pay author E. Jean Carroll $5 million for defaming her, calling her a whack job and not his type, when denying Carroll's claims that he sexually assaulted her back in the 1990s. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Next game up, it's cloudy. 76 on Monument Circle. The high today ticking up. We could reach 78. feels like 82. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Game 4 of the NBA Finals is tonight. The Indiana Pacers have a 2-1 series lead on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Head coach Rick Carlisle on how they can extend it.
It's only been 3 games. It feels like it's been longer. But we need everybody. We need everybody to put everything they have into it. That's how we've gotten to the finals.
He adds that rebounding and limiting their own turnovers will also be key. Tip-off tonight from Gainbridge Fieldhouse at 8:30 Eastern Time. An Indianapolis mother back behind bars after she apparently left her 4 young children home alone for multiple weeks, with an 8-year-old left there to act as the primary caregiver. Police were called to an apartment on Troy Avenue this week after the children's grandmother received a phone call from her 8-year-old granddaughter. 27-year-old Tanisha Eccles also avoided prison time for a 2019 child neglect case that resulted in her infant daughter's death. In D.C., a Q&A Thursday on why recruitment for most branches of the U.S. military is up in the past few months. Chris Davis reports.
Prior to President Trump's election, the military was struggling with the worst recruitment crisis in half a century. Now the Navy's on pace for its best recruitment in 2 decades.
Senator Jim Banks of Indiana, now Secretary of the Navy John Phelan.
Changing the ethos and the culture of the military to more of its roots in war fighting.
Banks says he believes the difference between the last 4 years and the last 6 months coincides with President Trump's re-election. Chris Davis, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Rain will be sticking around through the weekend with heavier showers expected. Forecaster Alex McGinnis at the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says he doesn't expect any severe weather, though.
There could be a few storms that could be stronger, maybe get some strong breezes, maybe get a heavy downpour. The main concern is not going to be any damaging winds or hail or anything like that.
McGinnis doesn't see any severe weather in the long-range forecast, but he says you'll want to bring an umbrella if you're heading out tonight. And just announced this hour from the Indianapolis Colts, owner Jim Irsay will be inducted into the Colts Ring of Honor at the home opener game scheduled for September 7th. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
From marshmallow festivals to fireworks on the shore. No matter where you're headed this summer, Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles. During Hubler's Freedom to Drive, shop any of our 13 locations and choose from Chevys, Fords, Toyotas, GMCs, Buicks, Nissans, Acuras, Mazdas, Hondas, and more. Over 2,000 vehicles. All makes, all models, certified vehicles, luxury vehicles, even the hard-to-find ones. Plus, every Hubler Q-certified vehicle is covered by a 128-point vehicle inspection and a free Carfax history report.
'Cause Hubler's got you covered.
No matter where you're headed this summer, Hubler's got you covered for 100,000 miles during our Freedom to Drive. Visit drivehubler.com or any of our 13 locations.
Cover me!
Warranty on select models less than 9 years old.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, one of the things we've been focusing on, and I think this is such an underreported story, is the influx of foreign workers over the past decade to the state of Indiana.
Yeah, we've got to talk and focus a little bit more about the hiring practice of foreign workers.
Yeah, and I think it's not just the influx of foreign workers, which are taking jobs of Hoosiers. It's that our money, through actual money or economic development incentives or abatements, are being used to attract these companies, which are putting a premium on hiring people. Not only don't even live in our state,
live in our country.
They don't even live in our country.
Yeah.
And one guy who's been digging into this has phenomenal information on this. His name is Stephen Whitmer. He runs the Indy Reporter account. If you're not following Indy Reporter, it is the best account on all of Twitter right now. You find it on Twitter at Indy_Reporter_ Stephen. Hello.
Hello.
All right. So you did a deep dive on this and you kind of targeted specific companies, but just how many Indiana companies over the past 10 years with these big press releases, they're coming here, they're making all this investment, they're creating all these jobs, and just how many of them, a large percentage of their workers are coming in on visas to the country.
I mean, it's definitely a lot, but the main company that I focused on was Infosys, and there is one more note that I wanted to bring up, In the U.S., Indian tech firms in the U.S. secured 20% of H-1B visas in 2024, and Infosys, that's in Indianapolis now, they lead that.
Okay, so real quick, I want to just set up for the people who Infosys is, because some people, man, I remember that name. When Mike Pence was governor, so this goes back 10-ish years or more, there was this huge announcement about how Infosys, which is their tech company, right?
Yep, they do IT, AI, and data analysis.
Okay, right, front and center with everything, especially with these data centers, et cetera. But at the time, this was hailed as some revolutionary thing. This company is coming from India. They're going to make this massive investment in the United States. They've chosen us. Aren't we just the belle of the ball? They're bringing all these workers in. And it was this huge hoopla. And you've done the research on what that has actually looked like for the taxpayers.
Yeah, even Mike Pence, he goes in an announcement in 2018 and said, this is a tribute to a great company, a great state, and to the agenda that POTUS, Trump at the time, has been advancing. Even Holcomb, he goes on an announcement and says, you can't spell Indiana without India. So we went into a little bit.
Wait. Can you say that quote again? Because I think that's going to be the heart of what we're talking about here today.
You can't spell Indiana without India.
Isn't that amazing?
He started the speech off that way, by the way, back in 2018.
Unbelievable. Okay, so tell us about Infosys, because, look, there's a lot of these other companies, but like you said, this is sort of the head of the snake on Hoosier taxpayers subsidizing workers from foreign countries, primarily as we're talking about today, India.
Yeah, and the reason why I really focused on Infosys is because they had a $1 million tax incentive package, apart from the IEDC.
$100 million?
$100 million tax incentive package, which is very interesting because part of it was from the IEDC and part of it was from the city. And one of the deals that they had was that they had to bring in a certain amount of jobs at an average pay of $37 an hour. We'll go a little bit deeper in this here in a second, but when I looked into H-1B data info from 2020 to 2024, there were 830 H-1B applications. And when you did the average cost or average salary of those, it was $80,000. Now, remember that $37 an hour, that is $76,000 for a yearly salary. So when they say, oh, we're in compliant, technically, yeah, they are in compliant now, but are those American workers? I would say no.
Let me repeat this again, because that's fascinating. And by the way, you can find all of this stuff. If you're not doing it, do it. It's the Indy Reporter account. It's at Indy_Reporter_. They tweet about all sorts of stuff going on with city government. You guys have been phenomenal on the Hogset stuff, state government, stuff like this. It is the best account you'll follow and stay up to date on what's going on. And we like you guys because you're like us. You're kamikaze pilots at this point.
I love it. White knuckling all the way through, Rob.
Okay, so what you're saying is they make this deal with the state and the city. And the big announcement is all of these jobs paying all of this money. But what they don't say is, as you said, what was the number? 800? How many over the past 4 years, the amount of HB1 visas?
830.
So
in 2020 to 2024.
So many of these people, these jobs that they're talking about, they're hitting that number. So they'll go to any news media that might inquire, well, yeah, we hit the number.
We filled our obligation, but they're not Hoosiers.
The jobs ain't going to people in Indiana. They're not even going to people in this country.
That's right. And I remember I was trying to find it. There was an article, I think, from Indiana Capital Chronicle, and they highlighted that with the IEDC, where you had these companies coming through there, and they said, hey, are these contracts compliant? You're getting all this tax money, or are you actually fulfilling your end of the contract? I was trying to find it. Maybe if Nikki Kelly's out there, she could help me out with it. But
I remember that article, too.
Well, and so then you get to so Infosys. What was the number you said? It was like you did some math. It was like 40%.
So Infosys, they said it was 63% were visa independent in the U.S., meaning almost 40% of their workers are non-American citizens.
So, like
in 2021,
4 out of every 10 workers for Infosys in this country are not from this country, according to the data that you pulled.
Yeah, by mid 2021.
So it may even be worse now.
Yeah, it could be worse now.
That's the most recent data you were able to find.
And when you were saying they get tax breaks from the city, do you mean Indianapolis?
Indianapolis and the state.
So this is what Casey and I have talked about, which is they being the government, banks on the public reading the headline and nothing more. So the public sees investment, they see the building, they see the jobs, but then they don't look at, okay, what was their abatement? What was their tax incentive? Nobody ever follows through publicly on whether or not that actually made money for the taxpayers.
Well, you're going to love this part because I found it. It was from an IBJ article. It's a 10-year exemption on IT equipment purchases up to $400 million contingent on those 300 jobs. Now, this is exactly what they're doing with the data centers. I have family in LaPorte, and I visited the LaPorte location, and they get a 50-year sales tax incentive on stuff with IT, with wiring, and they get a 10-year tax property abatement, and there's a chance for renewal as well.
So basically, you, the state taxpayer, are paying for these foreign companies to bring in workers of their country. You're basically paying for the immigration.
Correct. And don't skip over the resources of the state, the natural resources.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a big deal, especially right now in Franklin Township. There's talks about a data center going over there. And recently there were people are getting mad about the wetlands getting disturbed over in Franklin Township for a housing development.
Stephen Whitmer is our guest with the Indy Reporter account. Why are our politicians doing this? Do they not know? Are they like what? Why would you want this to happen?
You know, that's something that we've been trying to figure out for a long time. Are they just incompetent? Do they not care? But then when you see some of these pictures with Shreve, that he was just hanging out with the Indian lobby with, by the way, in that tweet, they talk about the development with AI and data centers in that tweet. You know, there's pictures with Craig Haggard. I think you guys saw one with Cuomo. He was there with them and talking about how many languages they're speaking. And by the way, Wayne Township has over 70 different languages in the school corporation, and they brag about it.
We talked about that yesterday, that you had put that out there. So Wayne Township, which is an Indianapolis school system, well, that's Ben Davis, right? 70 languages. And they're like, this is great.
Yeah, they talk about how great the diversity is.
Okay, so let's bring this back full circle and why this matters. You are sort of spearheading, leading. You're becoming the face, whether you wanted to or not, the what the heck's going on with Diego. And boy, I'll tell you what, Case, it's nice for somebody other than me to be the face of something for once.
Well, you know, you and I talked about this a while ago when he took that trip to India and he met with a guy named Venkat Bora in Spriple. And we kind of dug into that a little bit as well. And the arrows all lead to this same thing because Spriple is one of those AI data centers.
That's right.
Okay, so yeah, I want to lead you into this, and that's a great point, Casey. So now whether whoever paid for Diego's trip to India is above board or not, and he's still not coming off on that, and you're going to have to...
Oh, Rob, he paid for it. That's what he said.
That's right. So regardless of who paid for the trip and whether it's above board or not, it is pretty much irrefutable at this point. He is over there lobbying for foreign companies to replace American workers.
That's right. And, we're still trying to figure out if he's just, going with the flow, if he's being... duped into it, or he's
directed,
Yeah, we're still not sure on that.
Again, our guest is Stephen Whitmer. He's with the Indy Reporter Twitter account. Find it on Twitter at Indy_Reporter_. We're talking about foreign workers coming into the country, how your dollars are helping facilitate that. And we've got a lot more to get to. We got to talk about how this potentially ties into the Secretary of State and a bunch more. Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Karine Jean-Pierre. Latest to put some tell-all book out there about the Biden White House and...
Oh, her horrible book. Karine Jean-Pierre and her horrible book. Ugh.
She's saying that she is leaving the Democrat Party now because of the way the party treated Joe Biden.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling will pay you cash for your scrap metal. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling may seem familiar to you, and that's because they are. They're trusted local family-owned businesses going back 3 generations in Indy with their familiar orange logo and a name you know. But you may not know they'll pay you cash for your scrap metal. Cash is king. Your scrap aluminum, steel, copper, and brass will get you cash from Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Just drop it off or schedule a pickup, and you'll put cash in your pocket. Ray's Demolition and Farnsworth Metal Recycling. Local names you can trust with 2 locations.
Farnsworth Metal Recycling, a familiar face in Indy.
Get cash for your scrap. Get started at farnsworthmetals.com.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation and a regular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Summertime's here, so get a hot summertime deal at Tom Roush Lincoln. Get Lincoln's employee pricing on most all new Lincolns. Get up to $20,000 off select 2024 Navigators. Up to $8,000 off select 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Come and see why the Roush family has served the community for over 53 years at Tom Roush Lincoln.
Navigator MSRP 105-195. Nautilus MSRP 60-195. 2025 Navigators excluded from employee pricing. Subject to credit approval. See dealer for complete offer details.
Create a glowing backyard retreat with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor lighting package with the purchase of their best stamped concrete patio through June 30th. Visit IndyDecorativeConcrete.com.
8 years old and running with a dime in my hand to the bus stop to bed.
It's Kendall Casey Show, 93 WIBC, continuing our conversation with Stephen Whitmer from the Indy Reporter account. He's done some fabulous research into foreign companies, into the investments, air quotes, they're making in the state of Indiana, and how you, the taxpayer, are helping facilitate those investments, and how your money is helping bring about a lot of people from other countries coming in here and basically taking up permanent residency right here in the great state of Indiana. We're also talking about how this potentially ties into what's been going on with the Indiana Secretary of State, with Diego, and with these politicians meeting with these Indian leaders, these Indian companies. What's in it for them? I want to come back to that, because this is what I can't figure out. Is the money that strong? Have you found, because you pour through these donations, are there lots of donations from these Indian companies or entrepreneurs or whatever going to our politicians?
Well, that's actually the best part, because we looked into his friend Raju. And so last year he ran for Congress, lost in the primary.
Okay, real quick to set up, I know everybody knows, but Raju is... Chintala is listed as Diego's senior advisor.
Yeah.
Went on the trip to India with him.
Yep.
And he ran for Congress last year. And by the way, Raju has facilitated or helped facilitate many of these deals involving Indian companies coming to the state of Indiana.
In fact, he was part of the IEDC India Council to try and lure more India companies to Indiana.
Okay, what did you find out about Raju's run for Congress?
So this is real fun. So there were 226 entries, which means those are donations. It equaled about just over $300,000. I was only able to get 181 entries to check out. Total of those 181 entries was 272,000. So I went and checked out to see if those people that were giving donations were either H-1B workers or worked for companies that were H-1B workers. I found of those were 52 entries, which was $83,376,000. Now,
wait, stop for a second. You found $83,000 of donations that came from people who were on HB1 visas or
working for companies that sponsored them.
Yep. Now, as you would say, some public school math real quick, that's about 30% of the donation. Out of the only 181, I still have like 50-some to check out, but I think that really spells the entire story.
Have you looked into the Secretary of State's donations at all?
I did. I didn't see anything from Raju. I mean, Diego's definitely got some questionable donations, but...
Before we let you go, I want to come back to what Casey talked about, which is there was some on this trip that Diego took to India. there was some sort of financial guy that went with him.
Sojo's Capital. They were the ones who were in charge of the mall renovation in Lafayette as well.
Yeah, Lafayette Square Mall.
You put this out at the Indie Reporter account.
Yeah,
right?
well, what was weird is that they put in a different name, but when I looked it up, I think it was like Fabio Fernando. But when you look at his name up on Soho's Capital, it's like Fabio Dela Cruz.
Yeah,
and trying to figure out was like, well, what? I couldn't find anything. Overall, just a quick 5-minute search. Couldn't find any real reason why he was there. So there might be something coming down the pipe where Soho's Capital might be working with an India company or down the line working with some India, maybe development company.
Your account is phenomenal, and I don't think they'll give you a Sagamore anytime soon.
I don't even know if they're worth anything anymore.
It does make you wonder, though, if he's on an economic development trip, an unsanctioned economic development trip, he's taking a capital investment firm with him.
Or went with him.
Right.
We don't know who took what, where, with who, because he won't give us any of the information.
Right.
And so
they ended up at the dance together.
Well, and again, I think that's what's important. You had posted this. It was some guy over there in India, right, who reported that the dude was there. It wasn't like you're making that up. You're going to post of people.
I found stuff from LinkedIn just by chance when I was looking for somebody else.
So you've got, just to make sure I've got this right, because we never want to be accused of making up the news, you have found that you've got the Secretary of State going to India with a guy with the state contract. I think it totals $80,000 with the 2 contracts that he had. You have no idea what that guy does for the money. That guy, Raju, is in India selling visas. You're laying out how many visas are coming into the state.
That's a bigger question, too. He posted on Facebook about, hey, you know what? If you work with us, we can get you a green card in a year, or we can get you a work permit in 6 months.
Yeah, and then now there's this venture capital guy that's in on it too. Yep. And the bigger question to Diego is, what does any of this have to do with your job as the Secretary of State? Yeah. So, man, that's awesome what you put together, man. That's just unbelievable. Everybody follow the Indie Reporter account at Indie_Reporter_ on Twitter. They do all sorts of state and local government. And by the way, there's like a bunch of you guys, right? You're like some super secret society.
There's 3 of us on it's me, Sarah, and Kyle. I'm usually doing the heavy lifting, but I guess for now I'm the face of Indie Reporter, which I'll take it.
And what a beautiful face it is. Stephen Whitmer, thank you.
Thank you.
It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with 0 experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
Halliburton has it with 3, driving with 2, pulling up, and hitting with 0.3 of a second to go. How many more times can this team do that?
The Fieldhouse will be rocking on Friday night as the action continues between your Pacers and Thunder with Game 4 Friday at 8:30. Get your tickets at Pacers.com/finals and cheer on the blue and gold. Pacers Thunder Friday at 8:30. Pacers Finals presented by KeyBank, Kroger, and Starry.
Home sales activity is good, not great. So many homes, if improperly marketed, are sitting on the market. Hiring the wrong sales agent will cost you time and money. Hire the expert who maximizes equity and sells fast. The expert realtor I recommend is Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried you need costly repairs or upgrades to sell your home. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Kevin and Angela in Greenwood had to say about working with Mark Dietl. The big home was too much, and it was time for Dad to move into a maintenance-free community. But we needed cash from the home to fund the change. Reached out to the Mark Dietl team, who helped with the entire process from selling belongings to prepping the home for maximum value. Went on the market and sold for $5,000 over asking price in less than 7 days. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl, 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com.
David was in big trouble with the IRS.
At first, I didn't owe that much, but after this year, it was out of control.
Then David called Get a Tax Lawyer.
Right away, they were like, oh yeah, looks like you're qualified to save.
Get a Tax Lawyer went to work.
Should have called way sooner.
Get a Tax Lawyer has helped thousands like David fight the IRS and get a fresh start.
Call 800-745-3070. That's 800-745-3070.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2025 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Integrity, responsibility, humility.
Commitment, discipline, grit.
Leadership, resilience, dependability.
This is what it takes to be a high school student athlete. It's also what it takes to be a high school sports fan. Plus,
loyalty, sportsmanship, respect.
Support, encouragement, being a positive role model.
Buying a ticket, showing up, cheering loud and proud.
I'm Robert Falcons, Assistant Commissioner of the IHSAA, and these student athletes need your support in the stands.
I'm Sawyer Tittman from Fort Wayne Snyder High School.
I'm Allie Ward from Boonville High School.
I'm Owen Fouts from Yorktown High School. It means a lot when we have fans at our games to cheer us on.
It helps us dig even deeper and do our very best.
It takes all of us to represent our school and community with pride.
I'm IHSAA Commissioner Paul Neidig. Be a champion of high school sports by buying a ticket to your high school's athletic events. This is supporting your student athletes. This is showing up for your team. This is your IHSAA.
The Attorney General's Office, reuniting Hoosiers with over $1 million in unclaimed property every week. Visit indianaunclaimed.gov or text Hammer and Nigel to 46220 today.
I'm Deidre Hall with a message about your eye health. My mother had age-related macular degeneration, or AMD, which means my family members are at greater risk. AMD affects vision, and having low vision as a result of wet AMD, the more severe form of AMD, can mean a task like driving can become a major challenge.
I'm Dr. Sada of the Doheny Eye Institute and UCLA. AMD is the most common cause of severe, irreversible vision loss in older adults in the U.S. AMD affects central vision, which lets you see fine details. About 9 million Americans are living with wet AMD or are at risk. If you're over 50, smoke, or have a family history of wet AMD, you could be at increased risk. If a healthcare professional suspects wet AMD, a retina specialist can confirm the diagnosis and work with you on a treatment plan.
Routine eye care, including regular eye exams, can help maintain your vision. Visit www.geteyesmart.org for more information.
More than 100 million wild animals are killed each year illegally. Poaching is a major threat to our country's wildlife. I'm Tom Barry. I'm an actor with a desire to preserve living space for wildlife. The Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust does just that. Works with private landowners to protect wildlife, to preserve natural habitats. To learn more or to work with the Humane Society Wildlife Land Trust, call 800-729-SAVE. That's 800-729-SAVE, or visit wildlifelandtrust.org. Thank you.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
What the White House is saying about Israel's attack. Cloudy, rain in some spots, currently 74. We may get up to 78 today. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 10:30. President Donald Trump will be attending a closed-door meeting with his National Security Council to discuss Israel's strike on Iran's nuclear program and its top military leaders and nuclear scientists.
President Trump is already posting about this. He says, quote, I told them it would be much worse than anything they know, anticipated, or were told, that the United States makes the best and most lethal military equipment anywhere in the world by far, and that Israel has a lot of it, with much more to come. The Trump administration stressing that Israel took unilateral action, that the U.S. was not involved in these strikes. President Trump told Bret Baier last evening that he was aware of the strikes beforehand.
Fox's Rich Edson reporting, following the attack, this weekend's planned talks between the U.S. and Iran were called off. An appeals court temporarily blocked a judge's ruling against President Trump's federalization of the California National Guard. Hours earlier, a lower court had ordered President Trump to hand control of the Guard members to Governor Gavin Newsom. some. 700 Marines will be heading to the L.A. area to support the National Guard's efforts to keep the peace there. President Trump will be celebrating the 250th birthday of the Army and his 79th birthday with a military parade in Washington this weekend. The president says any disruptions of the parade will be met with very heavy force, as California has sued to block his deployment of the military against protests in Los Angeles. And Rick Moranis is set to return to the silver screen in the upcoming sequel to the 1987 classic Spaceballs. The announcement teaser released by Amazon takes a humorous dig at the numerous sequels, prequels, and spin-offs of popular franchises that have come out since the original film. Mel Brooks, the co-writer and director of the original film, will also be returning for the sequel titled The Schwartz Awakens, set for release in 2027. I'm Jarrett Lewis on The Level on the Go and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Let's just say the quiet part out loud.
Okay.
Most people's primary investment in this Israel-Iran thing is, am I going to pay more for gas now? I mean, like, you're never going to solve this thing other than when one of these people is eliminated, okay? Like, that's the thing that always gets me when there's supposedly these peace accords or these peace, negotiations with Hamas and Israel, and then 2 days later they're back. It's been going on for thousands of years. It's not going to stop. In the case of Iran, they hate Israel. They hate us. They're clearly intent on getting a nuclear weapon. Stop them or don't. And in the meantime, I think people just want to know, am I going to be paying a lot more for gas, or is this just one of these skirmishes that, hey, a week from now, everybody goes back to their corner and, hey, you're down 2 generals? I mean, I think that's kind of what people want to know about all of this.
Right, the gas, and I think the other thing that I've heard the most is this is not ours. Like, stay out of it. We don't want to be involved in this.
But can we? That's the question. So, and then I guess it depends upon what the response is from the Iranians, because Israel describes this, according to the Times of Israel, as a precise preemptive strike.
Right.
This is related to Iran's nuclear program. Here's the problem with the Iranians. Well, one of many problems with the Iranians.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of fanatical nutbags. And the problem, like, I don't actually ever fear Kim Jong-un and never have launching a nuclear missile because he wants to live. It was ludicrous, the idea of Saddam Hussein launching nuclear weapons, or Gaddafi, or any of these people, because they valued being alive. The Iranians, I think, are a little different story because they are run by psychotic people.
And you never know.
And you don't know, one, what they're doing with it, or two, who they're giving it to. That's probably the better aspect of it. However, I don't know exactly what the answer is outside of what Israel is doing, because how do you stop by force some country who appears dead set on developing a nuclear weapon? So I don't know. I mean, I know we're supposed to come in here and have hot takes and have here's all the answers. I don't have it on this, because I think, have the biggest burning question is, I thought Saudi Arabia was supposed to be fixing all of this.
Well, that's my question, is where is Saudi Arabia in all this? I thought they were going to start policing that region, and Donald Trump just went there. The red carpet was rolled out, the, mobile McDonald's, everything to make him happy and treat him well. I was under the assumption that, they were going to start policing that region so that we did not have to.
Yeah, it's a little disingenuous, too. Like, Israel doesn't pass gas without our permission. And then the U.S. is like, we weren't involved. We didn't know. We're just sitting here. I find that very hard to believe, that they just did these strikes and we're like, hey, USA, we just did those strikes.
Hey, by the way.
Can we have some more money? I don't buy that that's how. By the way, did you know the defense minister is named Israel Katz?
Oh.
I don't know if he's any relation to Tony Katz. That's quite the coincidence, though.
Well, Donald Trump said that Iran must make a deal before there's nothing left and save what was once known as the Iranian Empire. No more death, no more destruction. Just do it before it's too late.
Well, he makes a fascinating point, and I think this is the bigger thing when you let these fanatical nut jobs take over. which is if you look at Persia, Iran, in the pre-days of the mullahs taking over, what a beautiful little country it was. People had relative amounts of freedom, and it was a pleasant, peaceful existence. And then these crazy people, these fanatical crazies come in, and this is what you get. This is the society that you get. Now, the question is, and then what everybody in this country has to ask is, to what extent are you willing to deal with or try to subdue insane people? You're never going to be able to negotiate with them in a sense of the way you could negotiate with other countries who aren't necessarily our friend. Would China like to see America be taken over? Of course. Does anybody think China is our friend? No. But there is some level of order to the Chinese existence where they do produce things they do. They don't have freedom per se, but they have an existence that is outside of just some 16th century people living in 16th century huts, right? I mean, like
China sees dollar signs when they look at America. They see us as multi-trillion-dollar customer.
That's correct, right? That's what I'm saying. There is value in stuff to China. I don't think there is value in stuff to these people who run countries like Iran. So that's the decision our leaders have to make, we as a country have to make, is to what extent are you willing to go and engage to curb or subdue insane people?
Right. So Steve Witkoff, he's the president's Middle East envoy. He was set to hold a 6th round of talks with Iran. And so
I think after you
how many rounds?
Yeah.
How many rounds are we doing?
I think after the third round.
I think Israel decided no more.
Well, and I think after
Clearly.
the third round. Shouldn't we say 3 rounds? You get three strikes, you're out. If you can't do it with 3 rounds, then you probably just it's not going to work.
So Trump said that 2 months ago he gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum to make a deal. They should have done it. Today is day 61. I told them what to do, but they couldn't get there. Now they have perhaps a second chance.
Okay, let's talk about this.
Not all of their leaders, because that's being reported that some of them are not with us anymore.
Do we want our president engaging in international diplomacy through, or his pontificating on matters of war through Twitter?
Through social media?
Right, like it's one thing to say, Elon Musk is a this or that, or Rand Paul is a this or that. We can have all our opinions. We all got our favorites. But I don't know. I can't picture pick your favorite Schwarzkopf or, whoever it might be negotiating on Patton or like Eisenhower.
Right, I understand what you're saying, but
tweeting at Hitler.
They used to send each other messages through their speeches, right? And then they would use back channels as well. So this is out in the open if you take it for its word.
The problem is it's Trump's out in the open. It's Trump's butchering and half sentences and poor grammar and exclamation points and capitalized letters, and I don't know. I mean, if it all works out, then you'll say, well, hey, great job, Mr. President. I just don't know how that works with international diplomacy, because Iran doesn't exactly strike me as the sort of guys that are going to be like, whoa, wow, the orange guy got mad at us on Twitter. We better pack it up. I just don't, I don't know. I don't see that. But he's the president. I'm sitting here with you, so I could be totally wrong. Could be totally wrong.
You're not claiming to be a Middle East expert?
And I know Tony's, obviously, he's very close to this, and he's got a lot of friends and connections in Israel, and he's handled this at length, and I'm sure he will in his midday show. This is not really our, something we're going to spend a bunch of time on, because it's going to play itself out. I think just the thing the most people are concerned about is how will this affect what the cost of putting fuel in my gasoline tank, which gives us an opportunity, Casey, for something that we are passionate about, which is we are in a state with one of the highest gas taxes in the nation. So whatever you're paying here and it's going up, you'd be paying a lot less if the Republicans weren't so bad at managing money.
Well, we get taxed twice on our gas.
That's correct.
We're so lucky. Which one do you find more offensive, the state of the Indiana roads or the Indiana state sign?
Didn't you do a video of this one time?
I did.
I find it all offensive because I think they're all tied into a abuse and mismanagement.
Well, you pay for both.
So like this, let's walk through that for a second. So the sign, the roads are consistently bad because Indiana clearly can't manage the roads. The sign, though, who was clamoring for new signs?
Holcomb.
Thank you. There was not a flood of citizens saying, I'm so embarrassed when I drive in Indiana at these signs. This was one guy or a group of people, one in his little orbit that were like, you know what? We've got so much money and we're sure not giving it back to the people. Let's buy a bunch of new signs.
We don't like that old saying, crossroads of America. We don't want to draw attention to how bad the crossroads are. Let's change it. How about more to discover? Yes.
Has anybody ever, upon entering Indiana, thought, there's probably so much to discover in Indiana?
There's more to discover here.
Nathan, have you ever in your life pondered what there was to, quote unquote, discover in Indiana?
No.
Yeah, thank you. And you live here. The reality is that the majority of people who come into the state of Indiana are literally crossing through.
Mm-hmm.
They're going either from the middle America to the East Coast to the West Coast. That's why it's called dun-da-da-da.
Crossroads of America.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Do you think toll roads are going to help it, though?
Oh, I don't think.
Because that's the claim. We need more money to fix the roads.
I think our government.
That's why we got toll roads. Got to put those in.
We talk about this a lot. I think our government is so systemically broken that I don't think it can be fixed. It's very much mirrors what's going on with the property tax issue. Simply tinkering with the existing system is not going to fix it. It can't be fixed. It's too convoluted. There's too many math equations that don't make sense to put a Band-Aid on something that didn't make sense, that when you put them all together, you're reading some hieroglyphic ancient language that no one understands. You can't fix it. And it's true for much of our state government and how we are run. You can't, INDOT, by the way, didn't the guy who was running INDOT quit after like 1 month? Didn't the guy Braun got brought in, didn't he quit after like 1 month?
Was he uninvited?
And nobody asked what went on with that. Did we ever get to the bottom of it? Filibuster me for
We would like to invite you not to come in tomorrow.
Hang on here. I'm going to do this real quick. How did you guys do this before we had the internet? Because I can do this real quick here. Hang on here. Yes. INDOT commissioner resigns after less than 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Kent Abernathy was the INDOT commissioner, and after less than 3 months, he just quit. And this is, WFYI is who I'm quoting here on this. And nobody was like, what happened with that? We need to find him.
Mm-hmm.
Find him and ask him what happened with that.
Ask him?
Because something happened with that.
Well, I'm guessing he was uninvited.
Yeah, but why?
He was told his services were no longer needed.
Well, or maybe he didn't.
His contract was not going to be renewed.
Yeah, but maybe he quit. Mm-hmm. Maybe he realized it was too broken to fix. Mm-hmm. Maybe he uninvited himself.
That could be.
That's why we need to find him to find out, is it beyond fixing, or did he do something that got uninvited? That's what we need to find out is why did he, he resigned, so I guess he technically uninvited himself, but why?
You said something earlier that I wanted to get to about the insurance in Indiana. What was that?
Oh, yes. So Capital Chronicle had a big article about how much homeowners insurance is going up. And so next hour we can get into that, how much it's risen. Okay, somebody asked this in the YouTube, and this is the problem with doing a radio program. We're not a podcast. We have times, we have markers, we have things we have to hit. Okay, we know it's broken, but how do we do the needed reset, Rob? I feel like that reset will cost lives. I hope I'm wrong. I think all the time we explain different things that could be done. Heck, just yesterday we played again how in less than 4 minutes we fixed the property tax. It's not that it can't be fixed. It's they don't want to fix it. There's too much special interest. There's too many contracts with INDOT. There's too much money at stake. There's too much money that goes out. You could not consistently be this bad at this stuff all the time. Like I've always said, roads are like rebounding. The greatest rebounder of all time in basketball is Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman was not necessarily.
Glad we agree on that.
Dennis Rodman was not necessarily a great basketball player. He had a tremendous desire to rebound the basketball, and he was a great defender too. But he lived his whole life was a desire. When you would watch Dennis Rodman, he was constantly positioning himself to rebound the basketball while the offense was going. Roads are the same way. You have to have a continual desire because they involve continual maintenance and upgrades. You have to have a continual desire in order to be able to fix and maintain roads properly. And when a bunch of your money for quote-unquote roads are going into pet projects that benefit select people and you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on those things, you're not going to be able to maintain the roads because your money is going to various pet projects.
Mm-hmm. It's always happening. It always needs to be happening.
There, solved it. 1 minute.
Okay.
How about that?
Hammer's going to join us next on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, the latest on the Israeli assault on Iran and their response. Plus, what did the U.S. know and when did they know it? After the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
Turning 65, new to Medicare, or just moved? If you qualify for Medicare and Medicaid, a Humana Dual Eligible Special Needs Plan, a DSNP, may give you the extra benefits you're looking for. A DSNP helps cover things like prescriptions and checkups, but it also helps pay for essentials, too. With a Humana DSNP, you get $225 a month for eligible groceries, rent, utilities, and more. Plus, whatever you don't spend carries over to the next month. You may even get benefits like $0 copays on routine prescriptions, plus routine dental, vision, or hearing coverage. All of this could make a difference for your health and wallet. Learn more at GetHumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a coordinated care HMO SNP plan with a Medicare contract and a contract with the Indiana Medicaid program. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal. Allowance amounts cannot be combined with other benefit allowances. Limitations and restrictions may apply.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-444-9336. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-444-9336. That's 800-444-9336. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with, call Big Lou at 800-444-9336.
Have recent storms caused damage to your roofing or siding? Cochran Exteriors is now offering free inspections to assess the condition of your home. From blown-offs to full replacements, Cochran Exteriors knows the insurance process and will make your home as good as new as fast as possible. Trust a company that was here before the storm and will be long after. For your free, no-obligation consultation, schedule today at CochranExteriors.com or call 317-ROOFING. Cochran Exteriors, referred for a reason for over 15 years.
Big Joe here for your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical.
If your air conditioner is barely hanging on, don't wait for it to fail in a heat wave. Upgrade now with a new energy-efficient system from B&W. Join thousands of Hoosiers who trust us to keep their families cool and comfortable. Get a free estimate today at bplusw.com or call 317-214-0108.
B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard dealer since 1961.
The month of May has raced by at Sundown Gardens in Miss M's Home and Garden. Denny Smith here. The June sales are now on. Come shop the great high-quality products at both garden centers and save big this week. It's 20% off annuals and 30% off pottery at both locations. And if you're shopping for Poly patio furniture, visit Miss M's in Bargersville for 20% off their patio furniture. Visit Sundown Gardens at 186th Street, Spring Mill Road in Westfield, or Miss M's on State Road 135 in Bargersville.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell. Cordell & Cordell is the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. That does give us certain advantages, for example, in experience and resources. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. If you're a guy facing divorce, remember, Cordell & Cordell, a partner you can count on.
101 West Ohio, Indianapolis. CordellCordell.com.
Tired of digging through noise to find real news? Go straight to WIBC.com. Local stories, statewide impact, national headlines, info that matters. When news breaks, WIBC.com is already on it. Stay on the know while you're on the go.
Wait. You said that line has gone down on Oklahoma City?
A little bit. Little bit of Pacers money coming in. OKC still favored,
but it's not as big as it was when we recorded the podcast the other day, depending on where you're looking.
That's Jason Hammer, by the way. What is the line now?
Ken, I don't have my phone
I'll
on
look
me,
for
but
it.
as of this morning, it had gone down to like 5, and
Wow.
it was 6.
Ooh.
So for it to go down that much for a finals event where a lot of people are betting, right? So it's kind of hard to move the line. A point's a big deal.
5.5.
5.5. Okay, so it's gone down 5, 5.5, depending on where you're looking at. You could probably find a 5 if you're shopping around, but it was 6, 6.5 in some spots yesterday.
Wow.
So there you go.
All right, you guys have a new favorite segment of mine, and it is the Joe Hogsett reads poetry. I just love that.
Reset why this is a thing that we're doing, Rob.
Well, so the text messages came out in the Indy Star report that were not included in the
Fisher-Phillips report.
Fisher-Phillips report about
There's a lot of things not in that report.
Yeah,
like
that's not-
why he brought back Thomas Carl Cook.
It's kind of weird. You spend $500,000 ish for something, and you don't get the full story.
Right.
You think for $500,000 you should get the full story.
Left out a few details.
It's hard to believe something fishy or shady is happening when Joe Hogsett's name is involved.
And then, Casey, I know this is really your passion. Would you like to tell everybody where the poetry comes in as a part of this?
Oh, well, they were saying that some of the texts were like poetry and how that is like policy.
Oh, okay. So a dude who's twice as old as his staff members that he's sending messages to at 3 o'clock in the morning, they're talking shop.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's totally appropriate as the leader of a city that you would be sending these sort of messages in Hogsett's mind, because he doubled down on it. He just got asked about it the other day. Was it Russ McQuaid or somebody asked him about it? And he was just like, well, I'm running the city and I'm in a campaign and there's lots of messages going back and forth.
You know what? I'm sold. Works for me, Joe. Cue up the band, Nathaniel. It's time for another Hammer and Nigel Show poetry moment featuring AI Joe Hogsett.
Hammer and Nigel present Poetry Moments with Joe Hogsett.
Roses are red, and they're grown in Montana. Was it wrong to make female staffers in my office play a game called Hide the Banana?
Poetry Moments with Joe Hogsett.
See, they're just talking policy.
Oh, that's great.
it.
They're
That's
talking
it.
shop. Now, somebody listening may be saying, now hold on. That's just one example.
Right.
To put your mind at ease, I think we need another poetry
Yes.
moment with
Yes.
AI Joe Hogsett.
Clearly.
Hammer and Nigel present Poetry Moments with Joe Hogsett.
Roses are red. I just bought a Jeep. I can't believe it took this long for local media and my ex-wife to realize that I'm bad at my job and a big-time creep.
Poetry Moments with Joe Hogsett.
Nice.
Just talking shop, that's all.
Yeah.
Just
3 o'clock in the morning with, subordinates half your age.
Poetry.
I still come back to the hello
Hello. Talk to me.
where he's messaging her.
I will not be ignored.
It's 9:36.
I'm telling you, he felt emboldened by what happened with Belichick. He saw Belichick shoot that shot to a young chick, and he thought, you know what?
If that guy can do it.
Right, if that guy
So
can do
can
it,
I.
half my teeth are in the right direction. I think I got a shot here.
He's feisty.
You got a feeling on whether he's actually going to go down? Because some people say, well, they think he could. I don't think he's leaving under any
No,
circumstances.
he is the Teflon Don of this city. We all know he's a zero. And truth be told, media members, TV stations know he's a zero.
Yep.
But they feel like if they want to get some sort of 5-minute interview with him for Sweeps Week about what his favorite banana is, they're not going to report
Cavendish.
on how much of a turd this guy is. And he is a turd.
Well, and this is, you and I were having this conversation, Casey, off air the other day, which is why do they think people need politicians in order to watch their program? Like, most of these people are pathetically boring. Why would you not break big news because, he might not come on my show anymore?
And again, this is why Indianapolis is laughed at by so many people. Again, we told this story the other day. Tony Kennett, he was speaking to media members in other markets. They were laughing at Indy. Like, even in Atlanta or Chicago or Philly, very blue cities, if their mayor went missing during the riots, it would be a huge deal. Here, people just shrug their shoulders and blame Trump for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just at an absolute loss of why, with all the potential stories involving this guy, I mean, obviously going back to the riots, et cetera, where you could break legitimate national news.
Sure.
And you could be celebrated as a journalist. They're like, well, we don't want to do anything because, he might get mad at us and not come on our show anymore.
Think about if dumpster diving dork over at Channel 13 actually spent time on that as opposed to trying to do a gotcha story on me, which he was wrong on.
That's right, 100%.
And I never got my apology, so somebody tell that dork over there I'm still waiting.
It's 2 L's?
Yeah, 2 L's. They'll big-eared dork. And I can say that because I am a big-eared dork.
Yeah, but remember, they did a whole expose on how you guys were lying about Camp Atterbury, and then you were proven exactly correct about Camp Atterbury.
The government proved us absolutely right about everything.
It's the same reason why the national media was carrying Joe Biden's water.
Right, 100%.
What's coming up this afternoon?
Man, it's a Pacer pregame. It's Beer Sample Friday. It's Friday the 13th. We got Clayton Anderson doing the beer bong. Let's go!
Thanks, Hammer. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Summer is here and it's time to think about cleaning your carpets, but don't even think about renting one of those DIY units at the grocery store. Hi, this is Denny Smith for Zero Res, and right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at just $129 and $75 off air duct cleaning. That's the perfect way to refresh your home. Vacuuming is not sufficient to maintain the cleanliness and lifespan of your carpet. And please don't do it yourself with DIY, dirt-attracting, carpet-soaking machines. With those machines, there's no possible way to extract all of that dirty water out of the carpet, and it'll probably leave a nice layer of mud under the carpet. At Zero Res, there's a reason they have 4,900 plus 5-star Google reviews. So just call Zero Res with their patented ZR water that cleans with no soaps, no residue, and no harsh chemicals. Just fresher carpets and cleaner air for your family. Call now, mention WIBC, get 3 rooms cleaned starting at just $129 plus $75 off the air duct cleaning. 317-388-5141 or ZeroResIndy.com.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Make this your year. Looking for a new career in the high-demand fields of IT and cybersecurity? Attend classes live, online, or on campus. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today.
Financial aid is available to those who qualify.
Create a glowing backyard retreat with Indy Decorative Concrete. Get a free outdoor lighting package with the purchase of their best stamped concrete patio through June 30th. Visit IndyDecorativeConcrete.com.
When was the last time you practiced your home fire escape plan? Be sure everyone in your family knows what to do if there's a fire. Get out, stay out. It's your fire safe response.
Coming up in 2 minutes from the Technology Recyclers Studios, the Pacers remaining hungry heading into Game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight. Law enforcement making multiple arrests connected to the beating of a man at a Fort Wayne pub. A check of the weather starting tonight and into the weekend, and what the Colts are doing to honor their late, great owner. You're listening to 93 WIBC. WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
President Trump is about to sit down with his national security team. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. That's after President urged Iran to make a nuclear deal before nothing's left following Israel's attacks. Trump Truth Social Post warns will get worse.
Here at the Pentagon, the top military chiefs are meeting right now inside the tank, the Pentagon Situation Room, where top secret war planning is conducted. While the U.S. says it was not involved in the waves of Israeli airstrikes last night, it is clear they were given a significant heads up.
Fox's Jennifer Griffin. The U.S. is moving some military assets to the Middle East, including a destroyer capable of defending against ballistic missiles. Now, Israel's attacks continue, targeting Iran's nuclear sites to take out its capability to make weapons.
There's much more to be done, and this will be measured in
days.
Israeli ambassador to the U.S., Yakil Leiter. They've also attacked Iran's missile stockpile, air defense, and Fox's Alex Hogan reports from Tel Aviv.
Most of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard high command was killed while gathering in an underground headquarters this morning, including several of the highest-ranking military commanders. We expect the number of military officials only to continue to grow in the coming hours. Iran also says that 6 nuclear scientists were killed.
Iran calls the attacks cowardly, vowing a powerful response, and Israel will regret what's being called a foolish act. But so far, the Iranian drones launched have been shot down. A win in court for Democrats, challenging another Trump executive action.
The March order from President Trump required everyone registering to vote in federal elections provide proof of citizenship. It also limited when mail-in ballots could be accepted. But a federal judge in Massachusetts has put that order on hold, ruling it usurps the state's constitutional power and seeks to amend election law by fiat.
Fox's Jared Halpern. Also this morning, a federal appeals court upheld a verdict against President Trump, ordering him to pay $5 million to author E. Jean Carroll for defaming her when denying her claims he sexually assaulted her in the 1990s. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Seeking 2 more wins. Cloudy with some rain, 74 on Monument Circle. We could reach 77 this afternoon. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Up 2-1 in the series, but not wanting to get ahead of themselves. That's the mindset Tyrese Halliburton and the rest of the team has going into tonight's Game 4.
Approach this game the same way we approached yesterday, and just control what we can. And I think the biggest thing is just playing hard. You know, if we could do that, we could figure everything else out from there. So there's no need to get super giddy or excited by any means. You know, there's still a lot of work to be done.
Tonight's tip-off set for 8:30 from Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Another watch party is planned for outside the arena at the Bicentennial Plaza. You might recall an incident when a man was beaten up at Pike's Pub in Fort Wayne, and it was all caught on video. That's just part of what the now viral video sounded like. It also shows that black man James Simmons being beaten up by what police are calling 6 members of the Outlaws Motorcycle Club back on May 30th. Those 6 people were arrested this week. Simmons was put in a headlock, punched, and kicked while he was down, so he has promised to press charges. Rallies have also been held in Allen County ever since the incident to show their support for Simmons. With events packed across Indiana this weekend, forecasters say keep an eye on the weather. Ryan Hedrick reports.
There could be a few storms that could be stronger, maybe get some strong breezes, maybe get a heavy downpour.
Forecaster Alex McGinnis at the National Weather Service, Indianapolis, says Saturday will bring heavy rain showers.
The main concern is not going to be any damaging winds or hail or anything like that.
He says the driest day of the weekend will be Sunday, Father's Day. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
One of those weekend events coming back on Saturday in downtown Noblesville is Hatch Fest. Director of Noblesville Creates, Allie McGill, says it's a celebration of arts, technology, crafts, and heritage with more than 100 vendors in attendance.
And then later in the evening, in addition to us having music, some of which will connect to Juneteenth and some of which really focuses on heritage music from the region, after Hatch Fest is over, there's also an evening Jazz on the Square concert, too.
Hatchfest runs from 11 to 4 tomorrow, but she says other fun things tied to Juneteenth will also happen after Hatchfest is over. And the Indianapolis Colts are announcing today on his birthday that late owner Jim Irsay will be inducted into the Colts Ring of Honor at the team's home opener set for September 7th against the Miami Dolphins. Today would have been Irsay's 66th birthday. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Masters Heating and Cooling is ready to make sure you are cool and comfortable all summer long. They took great care of my system, and they can help you make sure that everything is ready to go to ensure a nice, comfortable summer and then a very comfortable winter. I've worked with their general manager, David, numerous times, and it has always been a pleasure. And right now, you can get $500 off a new AC system. And if you've worked with Masters before and you've spent more than $500 on AC repairs in the last year, you can apply that amount as a credit towards a new system as well. Masters Heating and Cooling makes it easy. They've got flexible financing options and 24/7 service, so no matter what your issue, Masters Heating and Cooling is right there to take care of you and your family. Give Masters Heating and Cooling a call. 317-567-9505. Tell them Tony Katz sent you. 317-567-9505. Or request service online at mastersindy.com. mastersindy.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Did you see this article about how much home insurance has gone up over the last couple of years?
Yeah, it's in the Indiana Capital Chronicle. They say home insurance premiums in Indiana are on the rise, not surprising, and they have increased by 16% statewide on average, $412.
And you see that. So one of the problems with mortgages, which many people have, like I would be fascinated to know what percentage of the population has ever actually paid off their mortgage, like own their home free and clear. What do you think? 10%? Maybe?
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You probably looked that up. I bet you could, in fact. I'll filibuster while you Google, Casey, what percentage of the population has paid off their home, their mortgage?
Do you just want Indiana?
No, I don't care. Whatever you got.
Okay.
But point is, one of the things about a mortgage, it's much like when people went away from getting physical checks to direct deposit. When you used to get a physical check, there would be a stub on the back of the check, which would show all of your taxes. So you could see it. Every time you got paid, you'd see how much the government was taking from you. Now, not only does it just go into your bank so you don't see it, you got to log into whatever, if your company has some sort of accounting software or something, you got to take 5 or 6 steps to see that check, and it just gets lost in the ether. It's the same thing. Did you get an answer?
I did.
What is it?
It's a lot higher than 10%.
For the nation? What is it?
38%.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I am blown away by that. 38% of the people own their home free and clear?
In the U.S., 38% of homes are free of mortgages. There's quite a few different sites.
Really? 38%
Yahoo
of the people.
Finance Band,
No
House
kidding.
Grail, they all come up with the same
House
number.
Grail sounds like the most reliable one. So the
and then Google.
and who could doubt Google? All right, well then we'll accept that as fine. So that's a lot fewer people than I thought it did that surprise you?
38%. It's higher than what I thought it would be. Yeah.
Okay. Well, point is still the overwhelming majority, even though the number is higher than we thought. That would be 60. Public school math would say 100 minus 38 is 62. So 62% of the people aren't seeing what the actual costs are. Now, you'll get a statement, right, from your bank saying, your homeowner's insurance went up, or your mortgage company, or however you're doing your funding for your home, etc., however you're doing that. And you'll get a statement from your insurance company on how much it had gone up or down or whatever each year. But the point is the payment itself is all factored into the mortgage, which is the escrow is part of the mortgage. So the property taxes and the mortgage itself, the property taxes and the homeowner's insurance, you don't actually pay that directly. There's no check, unlike your car insurance, that goes to the insurance company. It's just a little bit each month, right? It's a little bit each month. So the increases are like the frog in the boiling pot of water.
You don't see it going
where
up.
it goes up over time. But as Capital Chronicle's pointing out, because of the skyrocketing inflation as it relates to housing, the cost of repairing the house has increased dramatically, which means your insurance premiums are increasing dramatically.
Well, that's it exactly. And that's what we said. When these assessments go up, guess what? If they're saying the house is worth more, your insurance to cover it's going to be worth more.
So what they say, in the metropolitan area, it went up 16.5% or $440 over 3 years, from 21 to 24. Across the state, it was just slightly less, 16% or $412. And so for most people hearing our voice, the average was 16.5%, $440. Is $440 by itself enough to break the average Hoosier family? No. But then factor it in, if your property taxes have gone up $700, $800, $900, which for many people they have over that same period of time, now you're well over $1,000. That's money that just went. You got nothing for it. Your home is not being improved. You're not getting any value for it. It is just like interest, right? It is just going out the door. It is money that is being taken from you. It is a tax. The property taxes and the homeowner's insurance, because under a mortgage, technically you're not even required to have homeowner's insurance if you own your house free and clear.
Well, and that's part of this article. They're saying that some people are just canceling or not renewing their insurance. 1 out of 54 just canceled. So we're not doing that.
I actually have some experience with this. So when I owned my radio station in North Carolina, it was about 40 minutes away from Wilmington or inside the ocean. And the building itself was a solid block building. Like it could get hit by a hurricane, it could whatever. You were not going to take that building down. And we went through numerous hurricanes, multiple hurricanes. The building stood itself fine. The problem there was what cost the money was the flood insurance.
I was going to say the flooding.
And so we made the choice, and it was very risky, and we're very lucky. I mean, the radio station got destroyed twice, but the amount of cost versus what it cost for us to fix it back up, people weren't living there. We had just a handful of people that were going in and out every so often. It wasn't like it needed to be in tip-top shape. The cost us a couple $1,000s both times to soup it back up to where it could meet applicable standards for some code enforcement officer if they moseyed in. But the cost was so great that we just decided not to have the insurance. And the one thing that really
Did you keep flood insurance?
No, because it was too expensive.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Like the cost of, because nobody was living there, you didn't have to have the standards that you would for a home, et cetera. But the one thing that used to scare the hell out of me was our tower was on, there was land with it, and the tower was on the building site. And so I was always worried one of those hurricanes that the tower was going to go down, and I thought, oh my gosh, that'd be horrible. But I understand this, where people are like looking at the cost of it. Now, I would never do this with my house. I would never do this with where I live. But some people apparently have just said it's too much, and maybe my house isn't worth all that much, and the odds of getting hit by a major storm and a tornado.
Well, that's just it. Here in Indiana, you're not
it.
going to get the hurricane,
but I mean,
tornado.
Obviously, look at how many just pop-up storms have we had, and you think one bad stroke of lightning, one
big tree,
gust of wind, any of that could easily do immense damage to your prop. Boy, howdy! You want to talk about engaging in interpersonal relations with the world without protection? That is going without homeowners insurance. Oh my gosh. But you can't do that with a mortgage. Obviously, the bank is not going to permit you, or your lending institution is not going to permit you to not have homeowners insurance.
I have to tell you about the phone call that I got yesterday. It was one of those calls about an out-of-state person who wants to buy my house.
Oh,
right.
Did you engage?
I did engage, and they said, "Would you be interested in selling?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "How much?" And I said, $500,000.
Was this a person on the phone?
It was.
Oh, it was a human.
It was a human. And I said, $500,000. And they said, "Oh, okay, well, what kind of state is the home in? Have you done any recent repairs, like on the roof or the air conditioning?"
Yeah.
For some reason, they were really focused on the AC. And I said, "No." And they said, "Okay, well, they were trying to argue the price with me. And on a scale of 1 to 10, how interested are you in selling it?" And I said, "For $500,000, I'm at a 9. And he said, "Well, we're going to have to, there won't be a real estate agent. We'd be acting, so you'll be saving 8% on closing costs there. And because you haven't done any upgrades in a while, would you consider lowering the price?"
Wait. Any upgrades? Your home is new.
Well, that's what I told him. Finally, we go back and forth, and I'm sticking with, $500,000, $500,000, $500,000. I'm mostly just playing around with the guy. And he finally says, "Okay, well, would you be inclined to negotiate that price at all? How old is the house? And we're going to have to consider a new roof." And I said, "The house is 6 years old. It doesn't need a new roof." So those last 20 to 25 years, give me a break. "Well, okay, would you consider negotiating at all?" And I said, "Sure." And he said, "Okay, to what?" And I said, $499,999. And he was like, "Okay, I get it." And I said, "You think about that for a couple days. Call me back when you're ready."
I wonder how many of those people they get to bite over the course of a day, because clearly it's usually a text message. I'm impressed you got a live person.
Right.
I wonder how many of those people they get to bite on a daily basis, the amount of phone calls they make, who even answers
it's a numbers
the phone.
game, right?
Right.
The more they make, the more they're going to get.
But it's weird that he acted like he knew nothing about your home. Even though he was,
we didn't.
I would have thought he would have had the stuff in front of him.
Well, I didn't get to my line. Wait, you called me.
Yeah.
You should know all about the
How
house.
much time did you spend on the phone with this guy?
I don't know. It was probably 3 minutes.
Oh.
I was doing the template for today's show. If only I could record that, you know?
Are you not allowed to?
Well,
I thought Indiana was
I
one,
was
one
on
call.
the phone.
Oh, I got you.
So
Yeah.
I was like, well, because he was really trying to argue with me.
Wow.
And I was sticking to it.
That's
I know. Funny, right? Okay, so what do you think is the highest paying job at a Walmart store?
You want me to like ponder it during a break? You want to take it? This is interesting to me. I'm going to have to like logically work through what the
Who
jobs
gets
are.
paid the most money?
Does this
to work
include
at Walmart?
okay? So I just know to think when I go to the break, and our audience is thinking, oh, does this include manager?
Outside of a manager.
Outside of a manager, so it's a rank and file worker in the Walmart.
Yep.
And experience is not a thing. Just like what is the average highest paid person at the Walmart? All right, I'll think through that. Our audience will think through that, and you're going to tell us when we come back.
Yep.
Oh, how exciting!
It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
When you wake up,
You understand this is about money. 1,000%. They started this.
when you work,
As long as the category was all Bruce Springsteen all the time.
I told you I think I could win a game of Jeopardy. I could not go on a run.
when you drive home,
Is it time to try something new, you think? Because it hasn't worked, and maybe try something new.
traffic when you need it,
Stopped on 465 again.
and updates all the time.
I'm Ryan Hedrick on the level, on the go.
Stay in the know wherever you go with 93 WIBC.
Hey guys, Father's Day is Sunday, 2 days away, and Life Church and all of their 4 Central Indiana locations would like to say Happy Father's Day to our dads and father figures out there. You know, there's so many fathers. They're working hard, leading their families closer to Jesus. Life Church says, well done. Regardless of occupation, fathers are coaches, teachers, builders, and leaders, and Life Church would love to invite you and your dad or your father figure to their Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, or Pendleton campus this Sunday. Learn more about it all on the web. Bring dad with you. LifeChurchIN.com.
Don Fisher here for QC Kinetics. I want to share with you the best thing I've done for my knee pain. I've been hearing commercials about the groundbreaking treatments that QC Kinetics offers for months. Meantime, my chronic knee pain had hit an all-time high threshold. I wanted to stay active and enjoy playing golf again without the pain. So I decided to call and book an appointment. And what I found out was that QC Kinetics is the non-surgical solution. I have no knee pain and feel like I did 10 years ago. And it's all because of the non-invasive therapy from QC Kinetics.
Discover the solution to joint pain with no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime. For a free consultation, call 463-282-6886.
I'm back to playing golf and enjoying life. Take it from me, this is the best call you can make to relieve your orthopedic pain.
For your free consultation, call QC Kinetics today. 463-282-6886. 463-282-6886.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
Okay. So I've debated this. You had posed a question to the audience and myself before we went to break. What is the highest paying job, non-management job at the Walmart?
Yep. Outside of manager roles, this is the highest paying position at Walmart.
Okay, I guessed mechanic in the automotive department.
That's a good guess because that's a skill, right?
But see, you're doing the nice mom thing where you're setting me up for my failure, which means it must be wrong.
Yeah, it is.
See, I knew it. And she's like, that's a good guess.
That's really good,
You
Rob.
tried really hard. Nathaniel, do you have a guess?
Is it the overnight guys? You got to put in those weird hours.
That is a good point.
That's a good guess.
If you look at the overnight pay, like when you see those jobs, do you ever just go on Indeed for fun and look at jobs and see what they pay? I'm always prepared for the day they tell me it's my last day here. I know exactly a group of no menial task positions I'll be applying for whenever they tell me I'm out here, so I just keep tabs on them. And overnight, if you're willing to work overnights, you can get quite a premium on your pay.
Yeah, because nobody wants to work those hours. Now, I would think maybe it would be like a pharmacy tech.
Oh, I didn't even think about that.
Or something like that.
That's right.
Where
Forgot Walmart even
you've got
has
a high responsibility. You've got to be correct.
Yeah.
Got to give the people the right amount of pills that the prescription says. No, that's not it either.
What is it?
Cake decorator.
What?
Yes. The cake decorators are the highest paid employees at Walmart outside of managers.
No, a cake decorator is the highest paid person at the Walmart. How much does it say?
$19.25 an hour. Wow. There are over 6,000 cake decorators who work at Walmart stores across the country. Here's what some of the job duties include.
That many people get their cakes from Walmart?
Are you ready for the duties?
Yes.
Decorating cakes and cupcakes.
That makes sense.
Using edible cake imagery technology. Ordering products and managing cake-related inventory.
Well, yes.
Walmart decorates over 150,000 cakes weekly.
How many?
Especially during their peak season. Any idea what the peak season is?
No, wait. Go back. How many cakes?
150,000 weekly across the country.
Oh, that's weekly?
Weekly across the country. That's why there are 6,000 cake decorators across the country.
What the season is? What do you mean by season?
Peak season for cakes.
What do you mean season? Like what? Like is it a month? You mean, or what are you telling me? What are you asking me?
What's the biggest reason somebody would buy a cake?
Graduation.
You got that.
Oh yeah! How about that?
You are right. That is the peak cake decorating season,
Yeah, that makes
graduation
sense.
season. Now, there are some job requirements for this. Must be 18 years or older. Must have at least 6 months of experience in fresh food production. And cake decorating experience is preferred but not required.
Huh.
Are you thinking of your career choices?
You ever get fired, Rob?
Well,
add this to your list.
When my wife was pregnant and I ended up going to the golf course, I was actually essentially hired, and then I ended up not taking it. I mean, hired in the sense of like they called me back and said, we would be interested in you doing this position. I was going to run is a strong word, but that's, I think, how they sort of described it. I wasn't a manager, but I was going to run.
Oversee.
I mean, they just hire somebody and put them there, right? The sporting goods department at the local Walmart.
The pro shop?
Yeah.
Oh, at the Walmart?
At the Walmart. No, not at the golf course. Yeah, no, at the Walmart. I had applied there because it was like, I was looking for two things. I was looking for something that I might be mildly interested in and something that was a relatively menial well, I guess
not going to take a lot of brain power.
And no heavy lifting.
Right.
And so I actually, at the same time, I was told I was going to get that job, and then I was offered a job at the Brickyard Golf Course, and then in West Chase, where I ended up going because it's 5 minutes from my house. So look, if it's menial jobs with no heavy lifting and no actual thinking involved, people were just lining up to hire me, Casey.
You completely overlooked the cake decorating option.
I don't want that pressure. I don't want some kid's birthday or graduation handing on my
Ruined?
lack of styling.
Right.
No, that's a lot of pressure. No.
And now you know how valuable the skills are that Maymay has.
No. That's unbelievable.
When she decorates a cake.
When you told me what it was, I said, okay, I get that, because that's absolutely, you got some kid's birthday, graduation, wedding anniversary. It's in your hands. I mean, and you've seen the way I write, Casey. I barely can write. I couldn't be doing a
ice somebody's cake
or whatever.
Yeah, no, that's too much pressure.
Now I think I could enter the child care field. Look at how mediocre I've done as a parent for 2 years.
Right, and mediocre.
Well, I mean,
that's what people are looking for.
Well, I'm just saying, the kid, as of when I dropped her off this morning, or when she left the house this morning, was still upright and taking nourishment. And for 2 years, I mean,
you've been able to.
That's an Indiana success story.
Right.
Admit it. Nobody thought I could do it.
Least of all your wife.
I am a very engaged parent. I will say that I have many, many flaws, but my parenting level of engagement is off the charts.
Right. And her first sentence is taxation is theft.
That's absolutely correct.
Right.
My kid is not screwing around.
Did you see that Jay-Z lost $1 million because he bet on Thunder?
Good. Good. I'm so glad. Yeah, so he bet on the Oklahoma. It was not just that he thought the Thunder would win. It was they would win in 5 games.
Right.
And obviously now, with the Pacers winning 2 games, the Thunder could still win the series. They cannot win the series in 5 games.
Right.
The best they could win is 6 games. Jay-Z bet $1 million that would happen. He lost $1 million. What do you think the Jay-Z equivalent of $1 million is to you?
Oh, what? $100? I guess it really depends on what his net worth is, right?
Yeah, you got it. You're probably right. It's probably you losing
Couple $100.
Yeah, probably, right?
Couple hundred.
I mean, it stings. You don't want to do it, but it's not like he woke up the next day and was like, where is my next meal coming from?
He was very confident. So he bet $1 million. If he would have won the bet, it would have paid out $3.3 million.
So we got 3-1 odds. That'd be 5 games because he had to get the exact number of games right.
That's much different than the bet that you placed.
That's right. I had the Pacers winning it all at 125-1.
Right.
2 wins to go, Case.
What did you bet $1?
It's none of your business what I bet.
I bet you bet.
I don't get into your personal life. It was more than 50 cents, but I don't dig into your.
You bet $1.
I don't delve into your personal life.
You're looking to make 125
All
bucks.
I'm saying, Casey, is I will not be paying for lunch for quite a while. With the coupons, we're going to be living high.
Fantastic. Okay, so there's something that I wanted to bring to your attention. You can read more about this at WIBC.com. It is called Redemption Ranch Canine.
What?
Redemption Ranch Canine. Found out about this place. I thought it was pretty interesting. Indy's underdogs. They go from shelter to shield. So this is a nonprofit organization, and they're just now celebrating 1 year. And what they do is they rescue overlooked shelter dogs, and then they train them to become police canines.
Oh, how cool.
Right. So
what a great story.
Most law enforcement trained dogs, they can cost upwards of $25,000, and the goal of Redemption Ranch Canine is to never charge a police department when they use one of their dogs. So the process goes, they find a dog from a shelter that they believe is capable.
Yeah.
Then they pair it with a canine handler, and then the training begins until the dog reaches the working standards. And then once they graduate from the class, they place the dog within a department. So over the past year, they've trained 10 canine dogs who've been placed with 9 different police agencies. And the dogs have helped take 200 kilos of meth and 15 kilos of cocaine off the streets.
For the record, before we go to break, Kathleen, I don't like Kathleen. I was not saying, like, I was thinking less of people who got their cakes at Walmart. She's like, a lot of people get cakes at Walmart, you snob. It just never dawned on me that Walmart even had cake people because everything Walmart does is on some mass scale. I figured everything they got came off a truck somewhere. I didn't even know they had a cake person.
Well, you're not a big Walmart shopper, are you?
Yes!
You go to Walmart?
Yes, unless I'm at Costco.
Okay.
Why does everything have to be confrontational here? I simply didn't know Walmart even did custom-made cakes. I didn't even think they would have that. I figured they all just said happy birthday on them.
Well, now you do, and that's one of the things that you learn by listening to the Kendall and Casey show.
Like, we go out of our way. We give all of our lives to these people, and then they just want to fight with us. I didn't know.
It's 93. WIBC.
Hey, this is Denny Smith for LD Smith Plumbing. Lance Smith joins me right now. No, we're not related, but I'd be proud to call him my son, my uncle, my cousin, whatever. Lance, welcome to the studio.
Hey, thanks for having me.
All right, sump pumps, they're coming up. You guys, it's probably time to get your sump pump special. You brag on this every year.
Yep, it's a real deal. Free primary sump pump with the purchase of a battery backup system. Simple as that. No hidden labor fees or anything like that. 317-927-7186 or ldsmithplumbing.com.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir.
Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
It's the Customer Appreciation Cookout at Sundown Gardens. Saturday 11 to 2, great Father's Day sales all week. Find out more at sundown.gardens.com, sundown.gardens.com.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
No reason to celebrate just yet. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending at 11:30. The Pacers are staying focused and looking to win Game 4 tonight at Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
There's nothing to get excited about right now. We're still a long way away. You just got to take it a day at a time. So we're excited to play another game in front of our home crowd.
Pacers guard Tyrese Halliburton speaking to the media on Thursday. The Pacers lead the series 2-1. Tonight's Game 4 tips off at 8:30 Eastern. 6 people are now in custody in connection to the beating of a black man at a pub in Fort Wayne from last month. 27-year-old Travion Sewell is facing preliminary charges of criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon after an 11-year-old boy had to be taken to a hospital for being stabbed in the abdomen. Rain is moving into Indiana today. Expect some showers and storms this weekend, too. And the Indianapolis Colts are honoring late owner Jim Irsay by inducting him into the team's Ring of Honor during their home opener on September 7th. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and at WIBC.com.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
All right, let's talk for a second about why this country is never getting fixed. I'm just going to spring this on you because I just saw this article.
Yeah.
And this makes me angry, and this is why we're $37 trillion in debt, and this is why our government is totally out of control. And so Capital Chronicle has this article. They run a lot of national stuff too. They obviously do have a strong local footprint, but they will run, because they're part of some organization, national stories. And one of the articles, it says, small business owners from rural America urge Congress to keep clean energy tax credits. So this is relating to the big bullcrap bill, and the House, in their version of it, cut a bunch of these clean energy, green energy tax credit stuff out of the Biden Green Dream, whatever. And now it's at the Senate. And the Senate has already struck a bunch of the accountability on the SNAP food stuff, where, like, again, this should not be controversial to say that we do not want a society dependent on the government. And especially it's been a slow burn the past 30, 40 years. Well, really post-World War II. But the past 5 years on steroids, we put all these people in government assistance, government programs, et cetera. And then we acted like it was a new norm. We're like, this is normal. It's not normal. It is not normal in an affluent society, which we live in this country, where there are jobs galore, to have this many people who are dependent upon the government. We should want people to pay their own way. And some people will pay their own way and have a better, more extravagant life than others. Sorry, it's just the way it works. There's a lot of people. Casey lives in a high-rise. I'm not jealous of it. She pays her own way. I pay my own way. It's just the way it works. And one of the things that has happened in our tax code is we're giving all this stuff away to various interests that we like. So we being not we, me and you, but we, the government, we, the society, the people who run our society, said, well, we like the idea that if you're in this field, we're going to give you a benefit that other people don't get. Well, why do they get it? Because we like it.
Well, that goes back to no tax on tips.
Well, exactly. That's what we're doing. That's all this is about. We are a society that just pockets people. We put them in corners and we give them stuff and say, you're more special than the person next to you. Well, why? Because we like the thing you do. Oh, that's it? Yes, that's it. And now these green energy people there's zero reason. If you own a business and it's good for society, people will buy it. It should be that simple. If you own a business and people want it, they will buy it and you'll make money. Period. It's a free market capitalistic society. But what the government is saying, and they know it and everybody knows it, is people don't want the green stuff. People want stuff that works for them economically. The green stuff is a bunch of environmental wackos, and it has been normalized by the government. And so they give them all these freebies to try to make them do green stuff that they wouldn't do because nobody wants the thing, because nobody would buy the thing. And so it made sense that one of the things that made sense was that the House was like, yeah, we're done with that. We're a capitalist society. If people want it, they'll buy it. If not, you're not going to do it. And now these green people are fighting with the Senate, like, don't take our green credit. Well, then how are we ever going to balance anything? How are we ever going to pay for anything? How is anything ever going to make sense if all we're doing is just giving away freebies to this group over here and this group over here and that group over there? You're not. And this is what's going to end up with this thing. When you try to do one big thing, is the people are going to be mad that their thing that they always got, they're not going to get anymore, and they're going to raise a stink, and then their senator will be like, well, this is bad for my state. My freebies are going away. I won't vote for it if you don't. And then they just give them the freebies again. It's happening with the SNAP. It's happening with the Medicaid. It's happening with the green stuff. This is unfixable if this is how we're going to govern ourselves.
You mentioned that you had a conversation last night, and I'm springing this on you.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if this is an off-air or on-air conversation.
Oh, well, it's all
But
on
you
air.
met with your friend in Brownsburg.
Oh, yeah. Me and Lord Travis had a fun little conversation. Yes, we can talk about that right now.
Was that about the pool?
Well,
I mean, the aquatic center.
So they there was another high-density housing development on the agenda, and they tabled it. And I got up at the end, so I couldn't talk during the beginning. I didn't want the Lauren Roberts treatment, which I've had before.
Correct.
With the police have been weaponized on me.
You've been escorted out.
In fact, I'm in rare air. The police were weaponized on me, not because I wouldn't stop talking, but simply because I asked how does something get on the agenda. Like,
right.
How do I have a question about the agenda, which is how does something get on the agenda? And he's like, cop, get him out of here. And then we've told that story many times where the cop was like, what's going on? And I said it. And then the chief of police came in and was like, yeah, that's what happened. That's stupid. Go back in and ask it again. And then I got up at the end and said, he said I can ask this again, so kiss both of my butt cheeks. But anyway, I got up at the end and I said, okay, well, since this is a public comment and you tabled this, the school just had a big old meeting where they're talking about how y'all have built too many homes and there's too much 1%, which is single-family homes, and you need more 3%. So it makes no sense when they're saying you need more 3, so they don't have to raise people's taxes. And you just got a law that's passed, and nobody has any idea what it says, which is going to be bad for single-family homes, right? To do more single-family homes. Oh, and let's tie this back into the aquatic center. Don't spend the money until you know what the property tax ramifications are. So, I tried to do it in 3 minutes or less. Some big spiel. Well, at the end of the meeting, I'm sitting back there. You know me. It's like I'm like Norm at Cheers. People come up and talk at the end. And you know what I love, Case? Some guy came up to me. His name was Dave. And he walks up to me and goes, thanks for all you do.
Right.
And I just said, well, I don't know you, but thanks for thanking me for all I do.
You're welcome.
Yes, that's right. What did I do for you? And he even said, oh, I'm a lifelong resident, and it's great that you speak up, and I listen to your show every day, and whatever. It was a very lovely conversation. And I said, if everybody was like you, Dave, the world would be a better place. If everyone appreciated me the way you do, Dave, the world would be a better place.
Sure.
So I'm back there just talking to a bunch of people about various things, and Lord Travis, the high ruler of the town,
He was jealous because you were holding court.
Well, I think he was mad that I'm far more popular than any of those people that sit up there combined. But that's neither here nor there. He goes back and goes, I'd like to have a conversation with you. I was like, oh, boy. I said, well, I need some witnesses for this one because I'm not going to any sort of incarcerated facility for things I allegedly said. So got done with my other conversations, and he was very nice and polite and waited. And then he goes, we had a back and forth about this housing development and the school and what they're saying or not saying. And anyway, finally at the end, one of the things I've been very nice, a couple of the people on the council met with me about the pool monstrosity, and I, trying to be nice, I had thanked them for their time and their productive conversation about how stupid it is to spend $100 million on something nobody wants. By the way, I got the math. My buddy who runs the little towny online paper there, the Sentinel, he got the numbers. And he told me that between the online inquiries and the in-person inquiries, want to guess how many people have responded about good, bad, or indifferent?
The input that they requested?
We were told all of these people, this is the most government
thing. They were clamoring for it.
I'm about to tell you the most local government thing ever and how broken our system is. So keep in mind, we were told all of these people want this pool, and all of these people want this rec center and this amphitheater, and they're just storming the Bastille. They're practically showing up each week with pitchforks and lanterns, and we're a town of 30,000 people.
And what's the proposed cost? It's like
$100 million.
Yeah,
$100 million. You want to guess between the online inquiry and the in-person event in a town of 30,000 people.
That was going to be my next question.
How many inquiries they've had, Case? Now, keep in mind, some of these may have been duplicates because you could online inquiry and show up to the public meeting.
Okay. So, a town of 30,000 people.
Yes.
A $100 million proposed project.
Which we're told everybody wants.
Everybody wants this thing.
Yeah.
They opened it up for public comment.
Between online and in person.
10.
Well, it's a little higher than that.
20.
Well, it's a little higher than that.
100?
Little higher than that.
Oh, you got more input
About
than I thought.
220 people.
Okay.
In a town of 30,000 people. So what's the math on that? I remember when they were like, you want to have a cellular telephone on your person at all times. Remember that? Nathan, I bet they didn't tell you. Nathaniel, I bet they didn't tell you that in school, did they? You're probably young enough that they never told you. You won't always have a calculator on your person.
They told us that, and we were the first generation to argue it.
Yeah, because you do. You have a cell phone at all times. All right.
Yes, we will.
So if you take 200 and you divide that by 30,000, public school math told me how to do percentages.
Mm-hmm.
That is 0.6%, not like 0.6%, not even 1%
Not even 1%.
of the populace for this thing we're told everybody wanted. And most of the correspondence is negative.
Well, I was going to ask you. You don't know if it was positive.
But
or
even
negative
if every
input.
single one of them were positive,
Mm-hmm.
0.6.
It's not even 1%.
And I was like,
for it.
We're pondering spending $100 million on something 0.6 of the people even cared to comment on?
Right.
Not a road, not a bridge, not a sidewalk, not a water line or sewer line.
Mm-hmm.
On something that clearly nobody gives to you know what's about.
Not even 1%.
What are we doing?
Care enough to comment on the aquatic
Right.
center.
This is the most. But we are told governments are so broke that if you got meaningful property tax help, the police and firemen would disappear. But our town apparently has so much money that they can ponder spending $100 million on something that 0.6% of the population cared to engage in. Most of it's negative. What, Mr. Braun, Mr. Governor, really?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Right.
Mr. Thompson, what? Anyway.
What did he want to talk to you about?
Well, he came. We talked about a variety of things, and it was as pleasant as the conversation was going to be, because I wasn't going to say anything. I was going to put myself in a correctional facility ahead of this award-winning radio program.
Smart.
But at the end, he said something to the effect of, we met last year, and you've never said anything nice about that. And I said, because you didn't do any of the things that I said in the meeting. Mm-hmm. And he goes, I did too. I said, no, you didn't. I said, we're still talking about the swimming pool.
Right.
And that was number one on the list of things we talked about this stupid, wasteful swimming pool. So I thought when I drove home, I said, I should really stick a carrot out to him.
Okay.
And here's what I came up with.
Yeah.
And it's half your show. So if you veto this, I'll look bad, but I'll abide by your veto. I just sent it out. I sent him a nice message.
Veto's symbolic anyway, so go ahead.
I sent Lord Travis, the high ruler of the town of Brownsburg, who once weaponized the cops on me for asking how something got on an agenda. I sent him a nice message, and I said this, Travis, I thought about our conversation. And it's kind of sad that you're that clamoring for positive feedback that you're like, you didn't mention my name. It was a year and a half ago, dude.
He wants you to like him.
I said, Travis, and I mean this with every fiber of my being. I said, if you make the public declaration that forever and always we are finally ending this monstrosity and the waste of what it would be to the taxpayer, and you agree to leave the last piece of property, the last pristine, untouched piece of property in town that many of us who grew up here, you just leave it alone. I'm not asking you to do anything. Just leave it alone. Leave it a park.
Yeah.
We can go walk. Green space.
Yeah.
Kids, run, stuff, right?
Yeah.
I will declare you
the
first winner of the Travis Tashane Profiles in Municipal Courage Award winner.
I love it. Well, did he get back to you?
He has not responded yet.
Oh,
but maybe he will know. I don't know if how often he checks his
Or he could become the dumbass of the day.
Well, that's what
you just don't know.
You've got two paths here, and you clearly opened the door at the meeting that it bothers you that I didn't mention that we met, and I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to make you the Travis Tashane Profiles in Municipal Courage Award winner if you are the one who makes the statement that the thing is done forever and always.
He's not going to do that.
Well, he could. Does he want the award?
I don't know if it's worth it.
And maybe
he may come back and argue with you that you have a lovely patch of grass to walk in.
It's empty. We paid $4 million for it.
Right, you've got that $4 million patch of grass.
Yes, that's right.
Go walk around that lot.
So I thought that was a fair offer.
I like it. I can't wait until he gets back to you. Good stuff.
My gosh, our show is wonderful, isn't it? Casey, before the segment, she was on a panic. Like, what are we going to talk about?
Well,
I got this. It'll be fine.
Because I had planned a lot about what Ron DeSantis was saying.
That he's going to run people over?
Yeah, and then the Florida sheriff who was telling rioters that...
Did Ron DeSantis actually say, is that legitimate that I saw it online? They said it's okay to run protesters over?
It says drive. Ron DeSantis drive. Yeah, and a lot of people are calling for him to be
Do we have audio?
removed. We do. Do you want to play it coming up?
Yeah, let's play it.
All right.
I can't. There has to be a catch to this. He didn't actually say just
You think
run
it's
people
AI?
over. No. I mean, there has to be more to it than he just said run people over. I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying I can't. If it's not, I'm going to love him at a whole new level. If
All
he
right.
just said run
We'll
the
play it
people
coming up from 93 WIBC.
911, what's your emergency? I will get someone to speak with you. Please stay on the line.
Hola, tengo su ubicación. Ayuda está en camino.
Getting past a language barrier is critical when first responders help Hoosiers. That's why the State 911 Board provides special tools for non-English speaking citizens to communicate with emergency services.
Si estás en peligro, aunque no hables inglés, podrás recibir ayuda en una emergencia rápidamente.
All Indiana 911 centers began offering translation services in over 240 languages in 2019. Now, people can send text messages for help in their native language to 911 and receive a translated text back from the dispatcher. It's of great help to the deaf and speech impaired and to those in select dangerous situations.
Cuando llame o envíe un texto al 911, un servicio de traducción se asegurará que entiendan lo que está diciendo.
For more information, visit in911.net.
Gracias.
911. Before you text, voice is best.
Home sales activity is good, not great. So many homes, if improperly marketed, are sitting on the market. Hiring the wrong sales agent will cost you time and money. Hire the expert who maximizes equity and sells fast. The expert realtor I recommend is Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried you need costly repairs or upgrades to sell your home. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Luke and Emma in Franklin had to say about working with Mark Dietl. We found the perfect piece of land and began building our new dream home, but we needed to sell our old place at the right price to fund the dream. We hired the Mark Dietl team and got multiple offers in the first weekend, closed in 25 days, and they negotiated for us to stay while we completed our new place. Selling was stress-free and profitable with Mark Dietl. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details, or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Turn your book idea into publishing gold.
800-215-6818. 800-215-6818. That's 800-215-6818.
Hi, it's T. Brian Hayes here from the Retirement Money Matter Show. Believe it or not, one of the biggest threats to your retirement plan is inflation. And even though inflation has moderated somewhat in recent months, it continues to rear its ugly head. So what can you do to protect your retirement plan from inflation? Join me this weekend to find out what tools and options you have available. The Retirement Money Matter Show airs this Saturday morning at 6 a.m. right here on WIBC.
The doctor's office that accidentally mixed up your files has your social security number. The power company that mistakenly cut your service has your payment info. And the hotel that lost your reservation has your passport number. You need LifeLock because your personal info is in endless places that can expose you to identity thieves. LifeLock monitors hundreds of millions of data points every second. If your identity is stolen, we'll fix it, guaranteed or your money back. Save up to 40% with promo code NEWS at LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Addiction doesn't just affect one person, it touches everyone around them. That's why Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick created the Supporting Sobriety podcast. It's for the friends and family standing behind, offering hope, guidance, and real talk. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.
Okay, so you're going to play this audio of DeSantis saying that you can run people over, which is wild. That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
I haven't heard it yet, so I want to know the context of this.
Okay, so this is all in relation to the No Kings demonstrations that are scheduled for this week. And did you see, we were talking about Walmart earlier, that Christy Walton, she took out a full-page ad in the New York Times opposing Donald Trump and promoting the No Kings demonstrations.
I think we should let all the illegal immigrants hang out at her house. You know, these people never invite them, these illegal people or the Antifa people or whoever this little group is. She's probably got a sprawling property. Why doesn't she invite them over for a little barbecue at her house?
Right. Come on in. and supply them with all sorts of burgers and dogs supplied by Walmart.
Well, but then I saw Walmart, because Laura Loomer got on this, and then I saw Walmart who came out with some big statement about rejecting that, basically, because they were probably like, given our consumer base, no thanks.
She went rogue on that, perhaps. And then Donald Trump, he was asked about it, if he wanted to respond to any of the counter-protests, and he was asked if he thought that he was a king.
Mr. President, do you have any message to adversaries as the Army kicks off 250-year birthday celebration?
I just think it's amazing. We're going to have a fantastic June 14th parade, Flag Day. It's going to be an amazing day. We have tanks, we have planes, we have all sorts of things, and I think it's going to be great. We're going to celebrate our country for a change. You know, recently, as you know, with World War II, the victory of World War II, I called up France, and they were celebrating the victory. Well, we helped them a lot, as you know. I don't have to get into that. But I called up other countries. They're all celebrating the victory. We're the only country that didn't celebrate the victory, and we're the one that won the war. Okay, if it wasn't for us, that war, you would be speaking German right now, okay? We won the war, and you might be speaking Japanese, too. I mean, you might be speaking a combination of both. We won the war, and we're the only country that didn't celebrate it. And we're going to be celebrating big on Saturday. And if there's any protester who wants to come out, they will be met with very big force. By the way, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force. And I haven't even heard about a protest. But, you know, this is people that hate our country. But they will be met with very heavy force.
He says he hasn't heard of a protest, but if there's going to be one.
What does he mean we didn't celebrate? Like, there were ticker tape parades, the famous photo, the, man and woman kissing. What do you mean? Like, those people were just celebrated beyond belief when they came home. What does he mean we didn't celebrate winning the war?
So the parade marks the 250th birthday of the U.S. Army. It also falls on his birthday.
We have no money.
He's expected to attend, also give remarks. And on the same day, many protests are scheduled across the country.
But we have no money. We're $37 trillion in debt. How is this helping me as a taxpayer? Like, how is this making my country better? When you don't have any money, I get that it's fun to do things in your personal life, but if you're not able to keep your lights on, you shouldn't be going to the liquor store or the casino, or, you got to cut back on entertainment. We have no money, and you're spending $45 million on an air show or a floor show if it's a tank, right? Mm-hmm. Well, why is that responsible use of the public dollars?
National pride. He says we need to celebrate this country, and if you're protesting, you'll be met with very big force. And here's what Ron DeSantis had to say about protesters in Florida.
And we also have a policy that if you're driving on one of those streets and a mob comes and surrounds your vehicle and threatens you, you have a right to flee for your safety. And so if you drive off and you hit one of these people, that's their fault for impinging on you. You don't have to sit there and just be a sitting duck and let the mob grab you out of your car and drag you through the streets. You have a right to defend yourself in Florida.
Oh, I like that. I'm 100% on board with that. I like that. Why can't Braun say something like that? He's meeting with some pumpkin patch owner or something, right? Mm-hmm. Where's Braun on that? That's awesome. I mean, they know there's going to be one here. Mm-hmm. Why is Braun not weighing in on this? Why is Braun and Drinky McGee not laid out what the plan is? Because it's tomorrow, isn't it? Tomorrow's the where they're having the...
Right. I believe it's noon at the State House.
So they know they're coming. On what level, we don't know. But we know they're coming. We know people like this have burned our city to the ground before.
He hasn't even come out with a statement, anything like peaceful protest. Right.
There's nothing. There's nothing. And this comes back to the thing I've been saying now for several months. What is the difference between Braun and Bobblehead and Holcomb and Crouch? What is the difference? What is the difference, Ben? We're 6 months into this. What is the difference? Thank you. The silence, right? There is none. The taxes are still going up. Mm-hmm. In fact, the taxes went up more.
And went up more.
Yeah, went up more. You've got no forceful statement about when these lunatics are coming. Mm-hmm. This is exactly how it went down the last time. No, I hope it doesn't. I hope it's fine. I hope it's as ridiculous as that little thing the other night before the Pacer game. But the reality is, we know the propensity for violence in this city, and we know the propensity exists because the people in charge let people get away with stuff. Where was Holcomb during the riots? Nowhere to be found. In fact, he told a guy like Malik Muhammad, "Oh, what a great guy. Let's have a meet and greet." Where was Hogsett?
Come on
well,
down.
we know the rumors of where Hogsett was, and here we are 5 years later. They're lining up saying they're coming in again. Could be something, could be nothing. Don't know. But the governor and the mayor, well, I mean, Hogsett's lunching and avoiding meetings because he can't explain why he was thirsty, drunk texting subordinates, and Braun is hanging out with people who own pumpkin patches. That's our leadership.
So Senator Josh Hawley, he launched an investigation into who's funding the riots in L.A. Follow the money, get to the source. And you got to wonder,
I love that DeSantis said run people over. I love that. That's awesome. If you're going to threaten me, and he got it out there. He put it out there so that if someone's threatening you, you just run them over. I like that. How can we just trade? Like, can we offer them 7? You know how in sports they'll give you prospects,
right?
7 governors to be named later. Can we trade Braun, bobblehead, and 7 governors to be named later for DeSantis?
For one Ron DeSantis.
For one Ron DeSantis.
It's not how that works, Rob. It's not how that works. All right, you've got Father's Day weekend upon us, and I think I know what your plans are. Let me see if I'm right. You're going to sit down in front of the TV, watch the U.S. Open, and put a do not disturb sign around your neck.
That's correct. That's all I ask for every Father's Day. I don't want gifts. I don't want cards. I don't want breakfast in bed. I just want to be left alone.
Okay.
Just 12 hours of left alone.
How are your golfers doing in the big tournament?
Well, we're thoroughly disappointed in everyone thus far, but it's a long tournament. Nathaniel's been having an aneurysm over here about his favorite players, and I said, "Dude, it's only Friday. It's fine. It's going to be great. It's going to be fine." Hey, thanks to all our listeners for another great week. We don't thank you guys enough. You are awesome. You are the lifeblood of this show. You are the best. Be safe out there. Have a great weekend.
Yeah. Thank you, Rob. Happy Father's Day. Enjoy your weekend. To the fathers listening, happy Father's Day. Thank you, Nathaniel. And as we leave, some Pacers hype. We'll catch you back here on Monday on 93 WIBC.
You know what we got? We got the NBA. We're dealing with a little bit of SGA. We don't care about Stephen A. because his pace is in 5. Let's go. Was that the coolest thing of your entire life?
Yes! 25 years, baby! That's a great shirt. Thank you, Reggie. Thank you, Tyrese. We got this in the bag, baby. Go, Iggy! Woo!
Hammer and Nigel show this afternoon. It's a beer sample Friday. Singer Clayton Anderson